It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Paris Martineau's here. Jeff Jarvis is here. Ant Pruitt's here. We've got a little tribute coming up to Ant's mom. She retired this week. Congratulations, Mom. We'll also talk about the OpenAI Developers Summit. Some pretty big announcements there. A U-turn for GM's Cruise. And something that's happening in the EU that could make browsers completely insecure by law. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 741, recorded Wednesday, November 8th, 2023, The Whole Muffin. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by Fastmail. Reclaim your privacy, boost productivity, and make email yours with Fastmail. Try it now, free for 30 days at fastmail.com/twit. And by Melissa, the global leader in contact data quality. Bad data is bad business. Make sure your customer contact data is up to date. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. And by Mylio. Mylio Photos is a smart and powerful system that lets you easily organize, edit, and manage years of important documents, photos, and videos in an offline library hosted on any device. And it's free. See what has us so excited by visiting mylio.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week at Google, the show where we get together with the great Googlers of time. Take two. That's Paris. Paris Martineau laughing uproariously at me. Hello, Paris.
You're so good at saying words.
From the information, yeah, aren't I? Just they just float like out of water, out of a.
Boy,
that's Ant Pruitt. Welcome back. We missed you, Dr. Pruitt.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All dressed up. You had a nice vacation?
I did. Had business to handle, but it was all good.
He has some business. He's cagey, this one. He's cagey.
Hey, I'm private, not cagey.
Oh,
I just don't tell everybody what I'm doing.
Jeff Jarvis is also here. Tells everybody everything he's doing.
I tell everybody everything. My life is an open blog. What do you want to know? Every day is Ask Me
What do you
Everything.
have for lunch today?
I had very good hummus and labne.
And
Open
what?
book. Open book.
Labne.
Open book and open sandwich, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
He is the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark. Soon to be deorbited Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York.
Soon to be
Emeritus to
Emeritus to you. It says it. They stamped it. But you're not emeritus yet. You still have to finish
No, I'm not.
the semester, right?
Well, no, I'm not actually officially emeritus till next fall. But that's okay.
Is that some sort of legal thing?
The emeritus?
Yeah, no, I mean, not. Why would look if I quit today, I'd be gone. That wouldn't be podcast host emeritus. It'd
Right.
be just
Right.
It's because the only fringe benefit I get as a teacher in New York State is that we have Travia leave, which allows me to use all of my unused sick time up to a term. So I stay on payroll until next fall.
Oh.
Wow.
It's a
So you're
profit
sick right
thing.
now.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that idea.
Did you stay there long enough to get a sabbatical? That's the biggest con game.
Here's what I'm such a schmuck, Leo. I stayed long enough to get two.
And you never took
one.
Oh.
I took one. And then there were crises at the school, and so I basically still taught. I was a schmuck. I was an idiot.
Sabbatical is a paid leave of some length, sometimes a year, sometimes a semester.
Either full pay, one term, or 80% for a year.
Amazing. And the idea is you're a professor, you'll write a book,
research.
You'll do research.
Well, I wrote a few.
Yeah, my dad used his sabbatical
Speaking
to
of which-
travel and look at. There it is, the Gutenberg parenthesis. And the new one's out, magazine. Take a closer look. A history of the magazine.
Cute little book. Just a little book.
Outstanding. Magazine is already available. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Yes, it is. This
Came
week.
out last week.
This week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Very exciting.
second.
And I can't wait to read it. I'm really, really excited about it.
It's fun. It's a little fun little book.
Paris, are you going to ever write a book, you think? You think you have a book in you?
Yeah, at some point. It'll just have to be the right topic.
Yeah. Jeff was
you got to
raving.
pick your first one wisely.
That's true. You never forget your first. Jeff was raving about Taylor Lorenz's new book, Extremely Online. You really liked it.
I really liked it a lot. For primarily because this is the argument I'm making in my next book, is we got to stop looking at the internet as technology and see it as humanity.
It's culture.
A human network. And that's how she sees it. She covers it that way, right?
Yeah.
That's what I loved about it. I love she started with blogs and mommy blogs, and it made me wistful. It made me sad in the end because
we've lost
all these
so
young
much.
people as creators. No, it's not that. All these young people as creators, who are young and talented and energetic and imaginative, they get corrupted not by the internet, not by social media, but by advertising and by the desire to reach scale and reach as many people as possible and to be as crazy as possible getting there, the attention economy. And so that just made me a little sad. That's all.
Yeah.
But it was very good reporting, I think. And what I also respect about Taylor's reporting is that she doesn't just dismiss, some 14-year-old. She uses their name.
Yeah. She has respect.
She covers them as she would someone in entertainment, because they are.
And that was, to me, also interesting, because people like Julia Fox, who really got no respect whatsoever, still doesn't. Taylor...
Julia, no,
Fox,
you mean... my good friend, yeah.
Yeah.
If you hadn't said that, I would have
No
known her.
respect, guys.
Oh, wow.
I do know her. I interviewed her at Internet Week back when we had those.
She
things
was an early
about being
internet star, but because she's a woman, and that's the other thing I got out of this book, is that almost invariably, if you were a female influencer, you got trashed, you got trolled, you got, and eventually, thrown on the fire, on the.
Oh yeah,
it was very sad for me. A lot of the women, and I guess in some ways that happens to. Look at Mr. Beast, who is now getting trolled for what he does. I feel like, but it's worse for women. I really do think.
Yeah, by all means, is at the Black Twitter Summit I held in February. Andre Brock Jr., who I've quoted often, talks about the joy that Black Twitter brings, and 3 women who were in the room said, "Okay, but let me also tell you about the harassment and abuse and doxing," and asked why they don't leave. It's because now part of their businesses is part of their financial lives, and it's that mix we've got to deal with.
Yeah,
and again, the problem isn't technology. The problem isn't even companies. The problem is us.
People.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about with my nightmare last week. It ain't the AI. It's the people who wield it.
Especially if they have power.
Jeff, you and Jason Howell covered OpenAI's first Dev Day this week, a couple of days ago, and their keynote, Sam Altman. I thought at first it was like he's a little Mark Zuckerberg robotic.
Yeah, he was a little awk. Yeah,
but I also appreciated that there was a human on stage talking about real things, and the developers who were there were thrilled by all of the things that OpenAI announced.
Which was?
I'm curious. Did you guys think that this should have been a live stage keynote? Or is this could have been a press release or an email sort of keynote?
Oh, that's
So I've seen a lot of
interesting.
positive attention towards it, which I was surprised by, because when Apple or Google does these sort of things, we all roll our eyes a little bit.
Well, first, what did you think? Do you think it should have been a live keynote, Paris?
I didn't watch it, so
okay.
I just read about
think
it, and I thought that was fine. But
I think it made a statement, and it showed the excitement of the developers in the room. Which, of course, they're going to be excited. They're they're doing their stuff. At least they didn't get their eyes burned out like other boys. I think that there were significant enough announcements, so we get into that now. I think the most important thing, it's faster, it's better, it's cheaper, it's all that. Fine. The important thing was the creation of a store for GPTs.
That's kind of amazing. They're calling them GPTs, where you take their learned models and you create your own app based on it. And he gave quite a few examples of some really interesting apps that people... Now, the store isn't open yet. It will be open
I don't know if they even
soon.
called them apps, which is interesting.
They called them GPTs. That was the...
So it's GPTs, and
that's the new
the other
term
thing,
of art.
behind the scenes, they showed assistants The GPTs are something that schmucks, idiots like me could write. Assistants are things that you could write, Leo, because you know what you're doing.
Thank you for
use the API.
Thank you for the credit.
Yes. But in either case, it's the long heralded arrival of agenting.
Yeah.
Here is your agent to do something. And we'll see. Jason made a lot of good points about, well, we'll see how good it is, how much in depth it goes. If it just says, if it just goes to Google and searches something and gives it to you, who cares? You can just go to Google. What does it do that makes it more expert, more interesting, more functional? But that was the interesting part, I think. It makes you think about a different way to imagine programming and
here's an example.
A relationship with a larger connected world where it can go out on your behalf and do things for you.
Sam Altman is building a new GPT. He says, I want to help startup founders think through their business ideas and get in some their advice. And then after, because remember, Sam Altman used to be the president of Y Combinator. He says, after the founders gotten some advice, grill them on why they're not growing faster, which I'm sure all the devs in the audience laughed at. This is a cut down that CNET made. But the idea is it's going to build what is effectively an app. In fact, it even names it itself. He says, well, what should our name be? I think he called it Mentor.
So it literally goes in and
then you could run this app and say, hey, I'm a founder. Here's my business. What do you think? And then it would do what Sam Altman as a human used to do.
Because he gave him a speech. So it just guesses out of that speech what Sam would say and gives you some anodyne, stupid, obvious thing that you could get.
Well, this is my general problem anyway with all of these LLMs is that the stuff they produce is superficially good. It looks good.
It's banal.
But it is ultimately banal.
So it actually created code that didn't have to go through review or anything like that, and
it's just, yeah. I mean, you don't ever see code. It's just a thing.
You don't see the code.
It's a GPT that runs on your phone.
Jason and I are very, very proud that a few weeks ago on Inside AI Inside, the CEO of a company whose name I'm suddenly forgetting said English is the most important programming language in the world today, and this demonstrates it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Command the computer with English. That's the point. Sorry, Paris, you were starting.
I was just saying, I feel like this is kind of telling on yourself, at least in the example of the VC advice-giving GPT. It's like, of course, what you're saying is this advice that we're giving is so banal that you can just plug in a couple of speeches and just a language synthesis, like large language model, is going to be able to mimic it. I think that's the fundamental
really
question
point,
here with all of these apps is what sort of value are they going to provide in the long term beyond just kind of some facsimile of giving advice or responses?
Well, in some cases, if it's tied to a database, it can be useful. I've used ChatGPT-3 to, when we got an unexpected stop in Genoa, Italy in the spring. I said, give me a 2-hour walking tour of Genoa starting here. And it was good. It was quite good. So if it has a source of information, it can often distill it in a way that's useful. So I can imagine a GPT that would help you do flight booking, for instance, and probably do every bit as well as a human travel agent, minus the one thing a travel agent really adds as value is the actual experience. Like, oh yeah, I've been on that flight and I don't like it. You should take this one. But other than that, I mean, it certainly can do the booking well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question I have even with the walking tour example is, in what way is GPT-3 more useful than you just Googling walking tour?
Oh, because I said, I'm starting here, I have 2 minutes, or 2 hours, make sure I can go from one to the other. And it actually gives you could do this all by hand, I guess, but it said, okay, you're going to start here. On your left, you'll see this. Now walk 3 blocks to this way, and you'll see that. Now we're going to take you over to Christopher Columbus's house.
Versus doing a Google search where you'll get a story along with, on your left, you'll see this here, and this, and that.
This is pretty close to having a human guide.
But it took a lot longer.
Yeah. And it may have, to be honest, it may have stolen it from Rick Steves' travel guides. That's part of the problem. One of the things that they did at OpenAI's Dev Days is the same thing Google did last week, which is indemnify its users for copyright violation. They said, we have Copyright Shield, which will absorb the cost. If you create something and somebody sues you saying you stole my artwork or you stole my writing, we'll defend you. Which I think on both OpenAI and Google's part is something they have to do, but also shows some confidence that they will win those kinds of lawsuits, right?
I guess the question that I have with all of these technologies is like, what is the end game? Because if this becomes a thing that most people use for like those sort of purposes of, like making a walking tour or recommend what I should order for dinner tonight or like make for dinner tonight and give me the grocery list now, I should get it. The thing, it is getting that information by scraping the web where people have already put that information together. And if there are no longer incentives for people to do that initial research, what is ChatGPT going to scrape from eventually?
Ooh.
There'll be nothing new.
Ooh.
So there's a friend of mine who I saw last night at Rutgers, Matthew Kirschenbaum from University of Maryland, argues exactly that, Paris, in what he calls the textpocalypse, in which the machine spits out content and it trains on that content and trains on that content until it becomes a gray goo with no substance whatsoever.
But humans are not going to stop creating content, are they?
I agree. Yeah. I think there's still going to be a place for creators to still go back and regurgitate old ideas and give it a little bit more pizzazz or refresh it. That's been going on forever and ever. Amen. You can.
Well, the real job is not to.
Everybody knows how to make chocolate chip cookies, but that's not stopping people from creating more recipes for chocolate chip cookies every year.
Interestingly, recipes.
But the reason why a lot of people are publishing those recipes online is because they're getting ad dollars from Google, and they're trying to get up high in the SEO rankings.
Yeah.
And there's all these sort of incentives to, like commercial incentives to create and publish these sort of things online en masse. And that's the thing that kind of confuses me about this notion that ChatGPT and these generative AI tools are the future, because it seems like it really throws a wrench in that.
I think humans, even though they might rely on these things, will always make their own. Nobody's going to stop Joe Esposito from creating more stickers.
Try as we might to get them.
Right? And so this is a natural human tendency. And I think Joe is prolific. And I don't care if maybe an AI could do this, but Joe's always going to have more inputs to put out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop doing shows. Even if AI could create our shows, I wouldn't stop doing it because I like doing them.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be plenty of human content to add. By the way, one of the things that they did announce is they've updated their information to April 2023. And Sam even kind of acknowledged, being cut off in 2021 was kind of a disadvantage. September 2021.
Well, it's also able to search the web. That's one of the things you can do with it.
It can use Bing,
GPT.
Yeah.
Is you can go out and search actively. Leo, I think what I argue in my next book is that making more content is kind of pointless. We have plenty of content. It's not about making content. What we do need to do in an age of abundant speech is to find the good stuff. And the first reflex to the internet was that we have to get rid of all the bad stuff, something must be done. And now we turn our attention to saying that there's more wheat among more chaff out there. And the challenge is to find the Joe Espositos of the world and then put them into a room and not let them out. But that's another question.
I remember in the early days of the internet, this was the same conversation. Was like, there's just going to be this onslaught of content. And we had the same answer, which is, I don't know if this happened or not, that people will become curators, that the curator is what will be valuable, the person who finds the good stuff. That's what we thought would be a very important role in the internet back in 1998.
It's still true.
Yeah.
Is it true? Did it happen?
I
guess that's what we do here.
That's what we're doing right now.
That's what we're doing.
Exactly. The show is.
Yeah. Because we're not creating
we're curating
new stuff. Right. We're curating others' stuff and then giving our comments.
We're making chocolate chip cookies of content.
The other thing.
Well said, sir.
Those aren't chocolate chips. The other thing that was a big deal, I thought, was the expansion of the context window, the number of tokens the chat program, the GPT program would consider. It was 32K.
Now, can you explain that to all us, Leo?
Yeah.
How do you know how many tokens you need input and output to make something work?
Well,
the context window.
Yeah, the simple answer is, 32K is about 30,000 words, right? So it's a 30,000 word article.
Okay.
128,000, which is the new context window, that's like War and Peace. So what it means is that the answer that you get will be generated from a much larger corpus of information by a factor of 4. That's a big difference.
Nice.
And I think that it's what's really, to me, was interesting was the speed with which these advances are happening. We're growing very, very quickly. And going from 32K to 128K. And getting faster and getting cheaper at the same time.
And cheaper, he's going down by 2.5 times cost, or 2 times the cost.
Is the kind of changes we used to see over many years, and it's happening over months now. Which
one could argue that he's in an extremely competitive landscape, and in the one way he's trying to stay ahead, the other way it's going to be hard.
Yeah. And it's also expensive, and he didn't really address this, I don't think. I didn't see the whole thing you did, so correct me if I'm wrong. But one of the things that comes up again and again, he had Satya Nadella on. Microsoft was not a invisible presence, but this is all running on Microsoft using literally billions of dollars in credits that Microsoft gave them as an investment, $10 billion in credits, or some amount thereof. It's really expensive to do this, and I think it's one of the reasons you see it being very big companies like Anthropic and OpenAI and Google and Microsoft, and we're told Apple in their latest investor call, Tim Cook said, "Oh, we're doing that too. We've been working on generative AI forever," which shows you how much pressure there is on all of these big tech companies to say, "What are you doing with AI?" I am still, I'm the one who's
smaller models.
I've been the AI skeptic all along, and the one who's been saying it's just trivia that they're spewing out that's just nicely polished. But I'm starting to think more and more. There are applications for this.
Yeah.
Startup Mentor may not be a very useful application, but I think that some of the GPTs they showed were kind of, I think, interesting. We'll know when that store opens.
Yeah, I think there are. The other thing he announced, so it was faster, bigger, cheaper, all good, and that they're going to indemnify users of GPT when it comes to copyright, which is what Google has said as well with Bored, which fascinates me because what they're saying is we think we're going to win in court.
I just said that exact thing about 10 minutes ago. Were you tweeting?
He was tweeting.
No, I said this during the show, and I have the receipts.
I literally said the exact same thing a few minutes ago. Yes, they are confident they're going to win.
Rule out that Jeff has been replaced by ChatGPT.
Yes,
he's regurgitating.
This could be a GP.
It's happening right now.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to do the full roundup. Okay, we're done now. Jeez, all right.
You were talking about how expensive this is. Do you see a point where this is actually going to start to go down as far as how much it costs for these tech companies to run these models and do all of these computations? Will it eventually get cheaper the way hardware got cheaper
really
over time?
Question. The cost of it is hardware, yes, because you have to have these fancy processors and a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's also storage and bandwidth. Something's got to go out and get the information, store it, and then chew it. I think it'll go down because all computing goes down in price, but I don't know if it'll go down as fast as say the price.
Well, Leo, this is where I think there's two angles to it. One is open source. And this is where Jan LeCun and Meta are fighting hard for open source, and as is Mozilla and others.
Yep.
And then two is that there is a lot of talk about doing much smaller models, which is part of what the Stochastic Parrots paper said, is you've got to deal with a smaller data set and make that work so that we can audit the input. And then secondly, I think the goal is going to be to get this stuff to operate in full, on your device and be updatable and be able to call out to other things. And so this gigantic, I have the biggest one, BSD stuff, I think might go away at some point.
Yeah, in fact, I downloaded Open Whisper onto this new Mac just to see how much faster. Jason Snell was saying it was noticeably faster in AI processing. And the biggest model is 3 gigabytes. But the fact that you can do it on device without going to the cloud is what's really remarkable. And that's another thing that's kind of changed, which is, and Microsoft's been talking about this, almost, and Qualcomm too, almost all computers going forward, your phone too, will have to have neural processing units, will have to have AI-specific hardware, because they're going to suddenly be doing stuff on device, and a lot of it, and the speed with which they can do that's going to be important. You're going to keep carrying AI devices.
Is there an oscillation here back and forth where you started with mainframes and dumb terminals, and then you went to PCs, then we went back into the cloud? Is this just kind of a natural progression that the processing and the effort, if it can, is going to come back into our devices because it's in the long run cheaper and also more in our control?
It's more than that. It's more useful. If you're wearing VR goggles or you're carrying a phone around, you don't want to have it go connect to the cloud, do the processing, and come back. You want it to be able to look at text and have it immediately translated. You want to be able to, look at the landscape and know what that building is. You want to be able to translate languages instantaneously. So all of that's eventually got to be on device. But that's the transformational thing that's going to happen. And let's not forget.
How far do you think we are away from that? From some sort of actual real-time, easy-to-wear AI headset that is going to, do like real-time translation and that sort of stuff?
It's funny you should say that. We were talking about that on Sunday because Mike Elgin had the new Ray-Ban Meta glasses, which he says the speakers in the temples are very good. It has AI in the temples. He said, and I think he's right, it's a matter of months before. Remember, Google showed this at a Google I/O and made me so mad with the Google Buds like 7 years ago. Yeah. Simultaneous translation. And then a year or two ago, they did it in the glasses. We've been on the cusp of this forever, but I think maybe we really are on the cusp of it now. I think the translation, we see the translation happening in real time in Bing Translate, Google's translator. Yep. Putting that in the glasses, and now we've got the Babelfish, right? You're wearing those glasses and somebody's speaking to Chinese, and in your ear you're hearing English. It's in simultaneous translation done by a machine. I think that, to answer your question, I think it's 2024. I think it's coming instantly, soon. And that's a revolution.
I think it would be so cool if you had a version of that, plus, like, I don't know, if I see someone, it could suddenly pull up all of my notes, like a summary.
Exactly.
Maybe, I guess, ChatGPT generated of the recent notes I have from our last conversation. That would be incredible.
And by the way, there's a great use of AI. It's got a corpus of information, every contact you've had with that person, and it's going to be smart enough to say, here's the 3 things you need to know, Paris, as you're walking towards that person. His name is Leo.
This is the last time we spoke.
You used to work with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw him last week on the same show.
Yeah. He looks so familiar.
Oh, yeah.
It will be good for people like me because I have face blindness.
Same.
Yeah, you do? You see somebody, I know
really
you.
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
And I'm like, I know you, but it's just like the minute I see your name or someone says it, I'm like, oh yes, of course.
I have name dumbness.
2 weeks ago.
I just cannot extract the name from my brain.
Same.
Why is it? Okay, now I'm really, and you too.
I flat out just say, hey, can you refresh my memory because I'm really bad with names and faces.
Why is the 4 of us have this problem? Is that
it's egotus. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a narcissist.
Probably does have some of it.
Enough about you.
I'm a bit of a narcissist.
Hear about me? I don't need to know your name. Let me tell you about me.
According to my family, I'm quite selfish. So yeah.
All right, let's do a face blindness test. I wonder if this is true of our audience too. I wonder if this is something that's common among
I just own it.
Geeks. So there are tests that we can do for face blindness.
Oh God, I'm going to fail.
In this test, you'll be shown a long series of faces. For each face, you must say if you've been shown that person before. Actually, I won't even do this, but this is a personality test online. But here's another one we can do. All of you at home
go ahead and do it.
No. Just think about this. When I realized this, I realized I have a disability. I can't. If I close my eyes, I cannot see my children's faces. I cannot see my wife's face. I cannot conjure that up in front of me. I can't even see what an apple looks like.
Yeah, that's.
Can you see Barbara
you-
Streisand's face?
That's
Can you? Do you not picture like images in your mind's eye?
I can't.
That's really
That's freaky.
Yeah,
That's legit.
No, that is like I'm forgetting what the name of it is.
Yeah.
But there's just a whole class of people out there, much like you, that don't think in visuals.
That's why he's an audio guy.
Oh, that's why you.
Maybe it is why, because I can hear,
just a stream
I can
of-
conjure up smells and sounds. I can
What
imagine.
about when you
them.
hear a voice, Leo? Do you recognize voices?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's very well. It's faces. It's called aphantasia.
Sounds like a
Sounds like
Disney
a
movie.
Disney movie.
it's-
Oh, yeah.
It's more common than you think. In fact, this is the quiz for it. Like, here's a bird, a cardinal, and if you're just listening, close your eyes and imagine what a cardinal looks like. And what do you see in your head? I don't even see this number 2, dim or vague. I see nothing.
Wow.
I can say a
But, like,
cardinal's
what
a red
comes
bird.
to mind? Do you hear it? Do you just?
I
think
could hear it
of
if
the
I wanted
concept
to,
Of
yeah.
a cardinal.
Yeah, it's conceptual.
Well, what about something famous that you've seen 100 times?
My wife's face.
Barbara Streisand.
I've seen that a lot.
You're trying to
My
recreate
children's faces. You would think. I mean, it kind of hurts me that
Your home. Can you think of your home and what it looks like in your mind's eye?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I kind of can do.
That's a good one.
Furniture, a little bit better.
That's really sad.
So you can
can't
walk
think of your
through the
wife's
home
face,
in
but
the
you can do
dark,
furniture.
blind.
Oh yeah, easy.
Without
I could do
bumping into
that.
things.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I
yet
do that
you
all the
can't-
time in the dark. Yeah.
You can't see a face with the same level of blindness.
But see, this is the thing. It's not that I don't know. So this is not that uncommon. There's some like 10% of the people. Actually, I'm sorry, 2 to 4% of people have this. It's not uncommon.
All right.
Oh well, never mind.
When
I don't-
did you realize that not
Fairly
everyone
recently, and
thought
you know
like
what?
This?
You know what? I also realized is why I have a hard time telling stories, or I can't be a writer because I can't visualize. I could be a nonfiction writer probably, but I can't and I have written quite a few nonfiction books, but I can't visualize stories or characters in a story, things like that.
I can't do it. That's just
I asked
because I'm
Daniel
not creative.
Suarez. I tried to, who's a great science fiction author. I was having lunch with him. I was saying, Daniel, can you, when you write something, do you see it? And he said, oh yeah, what, don't you? I said, no.
Yeah.
And I think it's
So
a
Rain or
disability.
Shine
That was
says,
recent.
but Leo loves photos.
Well, I think there's a reason why I love
Is that a
photos.
substitution?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
And I can and I always knew that was supplementing my stronger ability with sounds. I can hear sounds. So I think
AI should be able to help you in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, just think about it.
To prompt
that
you.
thing that Paris wants is exactly what I want, where it says, "Hey, that's Paris. You used to work with her. She's got 4 kids and is the CEO of a giant multinational chewing gum company."
Leo, look at Ant, please. Look at Ant now. Look at Ant.
Yeah.
Could you draw the shape of Paris's glasses?
No.
Interesting.
No.
So
I know
Patrick-
they're
Interesting
geometric.
question.
They're not round.
Patrick Delahanty has a good question.
Interesting.
When you read, what do you see?
Nothing.
Wow.
You see just the words.
all is
Concepts. It's very concept focused. So it's like I see the concepts. I try to.
We see
It's actually
words as
frustrating
shapes.
for me. I try. So this, in fact, because you don't know what other people are seeing. I just thought this was normal, and it was only like in the last 5 years maybe that I've realized this. But like, so I'm reading a science fiction book.
yeah.
I try to see the thing, but it's like this blobby. It's not.
I am so sorry.
Can you see it?
I have all kinds of
Yes.
visualizations
So
when I
jealous.
read stuff.
I'm not even
so
like reading the
jealous.
words. I'm in it.
Do your dreams have pictures, Leo?
Not very detailed. Yeah. Usually it's one thing, and then
Weird.
yeah.
When you leave seeing Oppenheimer.
We don't have to make this about me. Can you stop?
Oh no, this is fun. This is fun.
Sorry, we're deep in this now.
Oh yeah, we are now.
We've
When you
always
leave
thought you were
Oppenheimer,
weird, but
you
you're really
replay
letting
a
us
scene
know
in your
for
head.
sure
Can
now.
you see it then?
All I can see of Oppenheimer right now, if I close my eyes, is
Oppenheimer.
Cillian Murphy's giant head. Because I told that story, so I probably sealed
Right.
it in
Mm-hmm.
on the IMAX
Can you see
screen.
his snatched waist?
No, I don't. Does he have a snatched waist? That's interesting.
He does in that film.
Really?
If you look, you notice it on the IMAX.
It makes me very jealous because whatever the opposite of a snatched waist.
What the heck is a snatched waist? Oh, I'm looking this up now. Okay.
I have.
It's like it
goes in instead of out.
Like a V. Yeah.
Mine goes out instead of in.
One's a muffin top, one is not.
Yeah, I'm a muffin top. I'm not even a muffin top. I'm the whole muffin.
Leo's a scone.
No, sir, we call you biscuit.
All right.
Well, that was interesting.
I get very self-conscious, but to me it was an interesting thing, and I think for people with that disability, yes, AI will have some very interesting uses. I guess it could, if for people who can't smell things. Everybody can recreate smells, right?
No, I can't do that very well.
See, so that's what happens. The brain compensates. So there's some missing piece of my brain, but it's been given over to sounds and smells. I can smell any smell anytime.
If you were handed an apple right now with your eyes closed, would you know what it is by its shape?
Oh yeah. I'm not an idiot.
Okay.
What is this? I don't know. Is it a baseball? No, I can tell. It's not.
But you
like,
couldn't
it's
visualize an apple.
Yeah, no, that's the weird thing. It's not like that.
Like he doesn't have object permanence.
Where'd you go? Where'd you all go? You all disappeared.
His wife is dead to him right now.
I can't see anybody. Peekaboo, Leo. Peekaboo. When that is one of the Piaget childhood learning stages is object permanence.
Yeah.
And you all know that. I'm just telling for the audience. That's why kids, when you do peekaboo, believe that you've disappeared and then have reappeared. And they're going, oh, whoa, that was cool. Whereas every normal adult goes, well, oh, nice trick. Let me steal your nose. So anyway, it's not like I don't know what an apple is, and I understand the concept of apple. I know it's red, it's sweet, tastes crisp, and all that. All of that, I just can't. If I close my eyes, I don't see an apple.
You won't see it.
It comes down to a lack of a mind's eye, basically, right?
Yeah, I don't have a mind's eye. I got a great big hole where my mind used to be.
That sounds like a
hole in my heart and a hole in your mind.
But I can play Baldur's Gate 3, or I will once Paris teaches me. Let's take a little break now that we've talked about AI ad infinitum and my lack of an eye. It's probably why I got into, I think when I was a kid, I played chess, and I was always trying to play blindfold chess. And I play well enough that I can do that.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't see...
How young were you?
Oh, 12. Not really young, not little. I got into it in 7th grade. And there are people who can play 30 games of blindfold chess, and they can see the board, right? And they can have the champion of this was an old San Francisco international master named George Koltanowski. Used to write the chess column in the San Francisco Chronicle. You might remember Colty.
Colty.
I think his record was 34 games simultaneously blindfolded.
Wow.
And winning, by the way, winning every one of them. So I would always try to do that. I could do one. I can only do one, but it's a lot of effort because I can't see the board. I can play over the board. And one of the things I think that got me into chess was this idea of seeing moves ahead, because you have to kind of imagine this move, this move, this move, this move. And it was a way for me building up that capability. Would you like to know more about me? Anything else?
Yeah.
Can you
draw?
Can you type without looking at the keyboard?
I'm not a trained touch typist, but I don't have to look at the keyboard because I've done it enough now. Okay. I know where the keys are.
That's muscle memory, though, isn't it? That's different.
That's true.
That's not visualization.
It starts with kind of visualization.
Could you paint?
No, can't paint or draw. I guess if I were looking at something, I could. I could look at. I could.
It's a really good sticker.
Another fabulous. Now, see, everybody at home listening is going, what are they saying? What are they looking at? I don't know. They know how I feel, right? I can't visualize that sticker.
You're living inside Leo's mind. Yeah. It's dark in there.
This, folks, is why you have to join the club so that you can, in the future, watch streaming on
Joe Esposito has made a sticker. He makes stickers with our pictures and funny slogans. In this case, I have my hands over my face. I'm playing peekaboo, and the slogan at the top is "I'm not an idiot," and at the bottom, "This week in apples." And maybe you had to be there, but I would like to put that on my laptop. That's for sure.
That's awesome.
So I will tell you something about me. My emails provider, Fastmail. Our show today brought to you by, I love it, Fastmail. And more, I think if you ask around, John Dvorak used to have a test to see if somebody was a geek or not. He'd say, "What's your search engine?" And if they said Alta Vista, he'd go, "You're nothing. You're nobody." If they said Google, and this was in 2011 or something, oh, see, there's a geek. If you go around and you ask the smartest people in technology that use technology that you know, the IT gurus and so forth, what email provider you use, they don't say Gmail. They don't say Hotmail. They don't say AOL. They don't say Outlook. They say Fastmail. Because the free email services turn you into a product. You're not the customer. You're the product. Fastmail, yeah, you pay for it. Like, it starts at $3 a month. But if email is important to you, if you take email seriously, using a free email service is a recipe for disaster. There's no support. Go ahead and try to, something goes wrong with your Gmail account, get somebody to fix it for you. There's nobody home. It's a Python script. Fastmail, they're real people who care about you because you're a customer and who will help you. The service, the support, and the product is fantastic. Now, Fastmail does, mail, right? So you can use any mail client you're already using with Fastmail. They're an IMAP server. They use the very popular, very well-known Cyrus IMAP server. In fact, they contribute back upstream to it. They're very good. But they also have iOS apps and Android apps. And I've tried all the iOS apps, and I end up going back to the Fastmail app. It's just perfect. They have a web interface. I know a lot of people like webmail. Don't worry, you're not giving that up. In fact, the Fastmail webmail is the best out there. It has quick settings. From the quick settings menu, you can easily choose a new theme. You can switch between light and dark mode. Jeff, you'll like that. You could change your text size without leaving the Fastmail screen you're looking at. You can create a new masked email address right there. Show or hide your reading pane. Switch between folders and labels. You can auto-save contacts. That's a nice feature because then Fastmail's very powerful filtering can be used to only show you mail from people you know, your contacts. And if you respond to somebody, they're automatically added to that list. You can even use Gravitars or other external services to add images of senders, even if you've never met them before. So it's much more personal. Fastmail also does calendars and address books. I just set up a new computer. Instead of syncing my calendar to Google or some other service, I use Fastmail. It does everything Google does and more for my contacts, for my calendars, for my notes, all using standards: CalDAV, CardDAV, WebDAV. Fastmail will sell you a domain, or you can bring your own. I have brought more than a dozen domains to Fastmail. Why would you do that? Well, for a couple of reasons. One, I can send email from any of those domains using all of the top authentication processes. So your mail is much more likely to get through, DKIM and SPF and things like that. But also, the other advantage of having a domain hosted at Fastmail for email is I can create an infinite number of email addresses at any of those domains. So I use my domains to really control how I get my mail, who gets which mail address. It's really fantastic. For over 20 years, Fastmail has been a leader in email privacy. They believe in working for you as a customer, people to be cared for, not a product to be exploited. You pay for free email with your privacy. At Fastmail, your data is yours. As little as $3 a month. They have great spam filters and no ads on the webpage. I love Fastmail. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Fastmail also supports that new feature that Bitwarden, our sponsor, and 1Password have, that you can create custom email addresses for every account you sign up for, which is like an extra password. So now they'd have to know, the bad guy'd have to know the password and the email address. But it still goes into your inbox. It's really, really great. Easy to move to Fastmail. If you care about email, start using email that cares about you. Fastmail. Try it free for 30 days. Reclaim your privacy. Boost your productivity. Fastmail.com/twit. We love this. I mean, I'm telling you, just ask around. Anybody who really knows their stuff will say, oh, yeah, Fastmail, Fastmail. Fastmail.com/twit. We thank them so much. I've been using and recommending Fastmail for free for more than a decade. Finally, we got them to buy an ad. I'm really, really glad that they're supporting us here at This Week in Google. Big decision going on in the EU today. And I hadn't heard a word one about it till Steve Gibson mentioned it yesterday. Article 45. This is an article from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Article 45 will roll back web security by 12 years. It's part of a new regulation. The EU's voting on it today.
Roll back?
Yeah, it's called EIDAS, EIDAS 2.0. And buried deep within it, in the text of Article 45, is a rule that says any country in the EU can create their own certificate authority, and browsers and operating systems must include that certificate authority in the browser, which means any government in the EU can basically snoop on any traffic that's going on in your browser.
Explain that. How does that work?
So a certificate. So you know about HTTPS, secure.
Yes.
And that's done with public key crypto, essentially. You have a private certificate and a public certificate. Every operating system and every browser comes with a list of approved certificate authorities, reliable, trustworthy companies approved by ICANN to sell certificates. We use GoDaddy's one. We use DigiCert. That's another one.
And you can change your own, I assume. You can.
And so you get that certificate. And on my website, so if you go to, in fact, we can do it right now. If you go to twit.tv.
Wait a second. So is this why sometimes when you click on a website, let's say in like Google Chrome, it says like, oh, go back. It's insecure.
Yes.
There's something up with this.
Well, that's one thing they also scan for. They also, yes.
List.
So you could have so for instance, if you set your date and time to 1970 on your computer or to 2028, all of a sudden, a lot of sites won't load anymore. It'll say, no, the certificate's out of date or it doesn't have a proper certificate. That's because you can't establish an encrypted traffic with that site. And every site now is HTTPS because their certificate doesn't match your date, right?
Well, part of what Paris is asking too, right, Leo, is some sites that aren't HTTPS, you'll get that message.
Yeah, the Google's been pushing on that. Yeah, this is only for HTTPS. But now almost everything you go to is secure using certificates. You can go to a secure site and you can find out more about their certificate. If you click the lock on the site, it'll say connection secure. And then in our case, it says verified by GoDaddy.com. You can even look at the certificate.
That makes me feel secure.
Well, no, they're legit. They're a legit.
I know.
I'm not crazy about them, but they were a lot cheaper than we used to do a DigiCert. But you can see that GoDaddy has verified that this is twit.tv. See, it says verified by, and you can actually view the certificate. And GoDaddy is a certificate authority. That means that ICANN has approved them to issue certificates, and the browsers then have that information stored in them as well as the operating systems. So they can say, yeah, you're on a secure site, and that certificate that you're getting from the site really does say you're at Twit. You really are at Twit. And you can get there's the public key info. There's there's fingerprints. There's all sorts of information in here, which you never have to look at, but the browser does to verify that, yeah, you are there. And what that also does is establish an encrypted signal. That's the whole point of HTTPS, between your browser, your computer, and the server, so that nobody can intercept it, nobody can insert anything into it. It's a private encrypted transaction, except the EU now wants to allow and says, well, I don't know if it's passed yet, that any country, including Turkey, including any country in the EU, can establish a certificate authority.
So Viktor Orban has his certificate.
Exactly.
And it gets inserted there. So
it's not a certificate. He mints certificates, and he can essentially do a man in the middle.
Oh, I see. Okay.
For any site that's using that certificate. The EFF says this is a catastrophe for the privacy of everyone who uses the internet, but particularly for those who use the internet in the EU. Browser makers have not announced their plans yet, but it seems inevitable they will have to create 2 versions of their software, one for the EU with security checks removed, another for the rest of the world with security checks intact. By the way, it is not just the browser these days. Many browsers, Chrome I think does this, use the certificates from the operating system. So it's really Apple and Microsoft and Google that would be responsible for this. The current text of Article 45 requires browsers trust CAs appointed by governments and, this most critically, prohibits browsers from enforcing any security requirements on those CAs beyond what's approved by ETS.
I always say governments are not the best protector of privacy. They are the worst threat to privacy because they have laws and police and jails and so on.
Yeah.
Leo, let me ask you a question though. Could you as an individual user choose what certificate? So that's not the point.
No.
The certificate is at the site you're going to. It's not about your browser.
So here at twit.tv, we have private keys, and your certificate authority, your browser, your operating system has the public key. When you come to our site, it says verify this public key. If I don't have the private key, I can't verify it. Then you know I'm not Twit. I'm somebody impersonating Twit, right? Furthermore, there's an encrypted transaction established with Twit, and it certifies that encrypted transaction is secure. Misissued certificates, this is again quoting the EFF, have been used to spy on traffic in the past. They're very
So
famous.
are you going to a site, I'm still don't understand, are you going to a site that you think is Twit and it's not, and that's how
That's
the traffic
one
is
way.
spied upon?
Or
okay.
if Twit were using a certificate issued by Viktor Orban's Turk government, or Erdogan's government, then in Hungary, then they could actually do a man in the middle on that traffic and see what you're doing. So this is problematic, to say the least.
Is there any possible appropriate rationale why the EU government would think this is a good idea? The same as the UK trying to get rid of encryption. Is this a way to do it? This is not quite a back door. This is something else.
Someone lobbied.
What's their justification? How would they justify this?
I think it would sound more like what you were saying with the man in the middle. You know, you could still get to where you're going.
It's a good way to spy on people.
But somebody is able to scrape and probably monetize off of the data that they're scraping.
It's a strange thing to ask for. I suspect that's the reason, but I'm not sure. They're basically lowering security. Why a government would want to lower security? The EFS says that's why it's so disturbing. EDAS 2 is poised to prevent browsers from holding CAs accountable. By all means, raise the bar for CA security, but permanently lowering the bar means less accountability for certificate authorities and less security for internet users everywhere. They say the text isn't final yet, but is subject to approval behind closed doors in Brussels today. So I just thought I had no idea about this.
No one's
raised the alarm until Steve Gibson did on Security Now yesterday, and my hair was on fire.
Nobody yelled about this. Wow.
I'm watching. I'm monitoring to see if what comes out of Brussels. I mean, I see no reason that the thing is there hasn't been time to raise a protest. There have been some protests from. I think there was a letter signed by the fathers and mothers of the internet saying, let's not do this.
Yeah, 500 cybersecurity experts, researchers, and NGOs signed an open letter.
Yeah, but it's being ignored.
Note that signal number under Paris' name. If you got any scoops about this, that's where you go.
Yeah.
It's just a shocker.
It is.
Wow.
Because it was only after a hell of a lot of pressure in the UK, their so-called online safety bill, which is now an act, was going to require backdoor and through encryption. The authorities want their ways to spy on what we do. And Britt Snowden taught us that.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the real motivation is behind this.
And isn't the authorities' motivation for our own public security is why they want that backdoor?
What they're going to say.
I think that's what I've been hearing at one point.
Yeah, well, it's for us. It's good for us.
So
we've had child pornography.
Child porn.
Make sure everybody's.
How can you be in favor of child porn, Ant?
What's wrong with you?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. It's amazing. What a world, huh?
Yeah.
I don't have anything more to say about that. I'm glad. You were obviously Paris. You're doing some research, so maybe the information could cover this. I'd be very curious to see what happens.
It goes back to your point about AI, Leo. It's we got to be concerned about humans, and we got to be concerned about governments first and foremost among those humans.
Always the humans.
Yeah.
Gosh darn humans! They ruin everything. GM has halted production of Cruise driverless vans. We've been covering this story. First, the California Public Utilities Commission said, go ahead, put self-driving vehicles all over San Francisco. Then there was a death, an accident. Then the DMV pulled their license, saying you misled us. You lied to us about what happened. Then GM's Cruise shut down operation all over the country. And now the latest is they're also going to stop producing these Cruise driverless vans.
Wow.
Boy, going
what
from quick
180.
Slide. Yes.
Yeah.
Reeling from
a U-turn, you might say.
A U-turn. A
rim shot.
3-point U-turn. Cruise CEO Kyle Vogt held an all-hands meeting on Monday to explain how the company was planning to address concerns that its vehicles are not yet safe enough to operate. One of the very first announcements was they were going to pause production of their fully autonomous van called the Origin, which they were going to put everywhere.
In addition, Cruise's software had, quote, problems recognizing children, putting them at risk, according to a Monday story from The Intercept. Yeah, that's typically not what you want. You don't want... Children are kind of a target audience for not,
well,
the sort of things you want to know.
Yeah,
target is a bad word. They're the non-target audience, ideally.
Yeah, I mean, that's what somebody accused. Tesla's FS3 was accused of also hitting kids. Remember the guy who made videos? He would put little kids-shaped
I remember that
mannequins out there, and they kept running them down.
The guy who challenged someone via tweet to come over and put your child in front of my Tesla, I promise it won't hit you. Or
Did he really? Did Elon do that?
Yes. No, Elon didn't do that. Someone else did. I don't think that they actually put their kid out there, but a tweet was sent to that effect, and it haunts me.
My God. We've showed this before, but this is the Independent. Tesla crashes into child dummy as auto brake test fails. Here's a Tesla. There's a child. Oh, no. Oh, there goes its head.
It didn't slow down at all.
It didn't slow down at all.
There is a piece of that. The child's leg is flown.
Look at these other cars stopped. Well, let's see. Wait a minute. Here it comes. Let's see. This is, I don't know whose this is. Is it a GM?
Well, it looked like a Lexus, the first one.
It looks like, the first one stopped. Tesla, right? But the first one go, reach. So it is possible to recognize children. Yeah, it's a Lexus.
Wow. I love that they dress the child dummies up in jeans and hoodies, and they have them kind of like mid-walk. Really a lot of attention to detail here.
Yeah. Tesla is demanding an advocacy group take down those videos. Well, I can understand why they might be a little sensitive.
A little bad press.
This is back from August of last year. Anyway, apparently Cruise had the same problem. They're little. They're easy to miss.
Yeah. That's all it is.
And again, every time we...
You have this problem too, right, Leo? Whenever you go out, you're like, oh, man. All these kids
I don't recognize what a kid looks like anymore. I forget what kids are.
I close my eyes.
I can't picture them in my mind's eye.
I think I remember that they're little. I remember that characteristic. Are they red and round? No, that's an apple.
I just try not to hit anything in jeans and a hoodie. That's my policy.
I think that's really smart.
That's crazy.
It is interesting that they admitted this. This is from a recording that Forbes heard from an all hands meeting. So I guess maybe put a hold on that van for a little while. But I have to point out, every time we do this story, humans probably hit kids a lot more than self-driving vehicles.
Yeah.
With something that's going on like that with Cruise and halting production, basically going back into R&D, right? They're not necessarily just shutting things down. Okay, so with that said, shareholders and people that are investing in this, I'm assuming they would take this in stride and say, okay, let's get this stuff right because we'll eventually make our money, or is it going to be?
I looked at just now. Stocks down 3%.
Okay,
oh, that's big. Actually, that's a lot.
Wow. Ouch.
I think a lot of people feel like this. The future of cars is self-driving. Yeah.
I don't want that, but sure. Because I like driving sometimes.
My new car.
I was going to say, don't people love driving cars? Isn't that famously what car people are all about?
Every time I asked Ford's CEO back in the day, when what are you doing with self-driving? Because Tesla had already started. He said, Leo, people love to drive.
Yeah.
That was his answer.
Yeah.
Now I drive a self-driving Ford. So
I don't like driving around the city, but, I do enjoy going through Napa on those back roads.
It's nice when cars help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have to drive.
I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I have never done cruise control.
What?
Really?
I do not. Oh, no. Oh, God, no. I will not do cruise control.
I'm with Jeff on that, actually.
I turn it on all the time.
No cruise
Benito
control?
Gonzalez, technical director and expert.
Yeah, I've never used cruise control either.
Really?
Yeah.
You are weird.
I use it all the time.
All the time.
Paris, until you moved to New York, did you drive?
8 years ago, yeah, I drove, but I haven't driven. I don't drive now. That's one of my favorite things about living here.
Is your driver's license expired?
I had to transfer it to a New York one, and I keep it up to date so that I can occasionally take a zip car.
See?
I'll drive a zip car to the Costco in Brooklyn, and I don't use cruise control for that because I am going about 5 miles an hour through Brooklyn traffic.
So, Mr. Jarvis,
You can't go
are
any
you going to
faster.
drive from Jersey to Petaluma without cruise control? That's what you're saying? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. Wow.
I think the only time I used it was when my hip hurt. I was getting my sciatica. And trying to keep my foot on the darn pedal was hurting. That's the only time I've used it, and I hated it. Hated it.
Control freak.
I feel out of control. I mean,
See, this is why we never remember anyone's faces, is because, Jeff, you're out here being like, I can't relinquish control from driving.
No.
You're not going to have any room left in your brain for the face.
well, I damn near didn't get married because we almost got divorced. But we got married because I was trying to tell my wife that I had a stick shift car and wanted her to learn how to ride the stick shift car. And she was like, "Why? Why would you do this?"
No,
Do you still have
I'm
a
with
stick
you on the
shift
stick
car?
shift,
Oh,
sir.
no.
I'm with you on the stick shift.
I still have a stick
I loved
shift.
it.
Benito has a stick shift.
I'm with you on the stick shift. I love those.
Yeah, I like that. You don't own that now in your BMW, do you, Ed?
If it were, I would have been happy for it, but no, they don't have a stick shift.
No, I have a
Queen
little.
drive a stick shift?
I have a
No, she
knob
can't.
on my Mustang. It's like a dial that you dial, and I think the new car's got a little, like just a thumb.
Yeah, it's got the little
push
thumb shifter thing.
And then the new car, I'm excited because if I have the cruise control on and I want to change lanes, I just look at the mirror and it goes.
That's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
That's pretty cool.
I think I'll be turning that off pretty quick.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and yes, Queen Pruitt can drive stick shift. Yes, she can.
Can she?
Yes, she can.
You know who can really
You just
drive
told
it?
Can't
that?
drive a stick shift.
No, I just
text
remembered.
you.
at one
I can
time.
drive
Oh,
it.
okay.
You know who could drive a stick shift and has terrified me is my lovely wife Lisa. When I had a Mustang with a stick shift, but we were buying it. She said, "Let me do a little test drive. You sit in the back seat."
I love that. Gosh, I love that.
I was pinned to the side and then pinned to the other side.
I've seen how she drives Pepper, her car out there now.
She is a
She
little
ain't
speed
afraid.
demon.
She ain't afraid.
Not afraid. That's a good way to describe it. Not afraid.
Leo, meanwhile, is going over the bridge in his 3-wheel bike.
Yeah. Yeah. So, talk about AI. The SAG strike is ongoing. The producers made a take it or leave it offer. And according to Gizmodo, by pushing a truly horrifying AI deal. I like this picketer whose sign says, "Pay the actors, you AI holes."
Nice.
This
Great
is
sign.
the final offer. They said, "Well, we'll see." You know how that
Well,
is.
yeah, that's not a great negotiating.
It's our
point.
final offer. We're
We're going to take our toys and go home.
we don't need actors. So the clause included in the offer, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers is seeking to secure AI scans
that's
for
cool.
Schedule F performers. That is guild members who earn more than the minimum series regulars, which is a lot, $32,000 for TV episode, $60,000 for a movie. If you get paid that much, then they say we can scan you.
That's bull.
We are required, as are the streamers, to pay to scan the likeness, and until you're dead, and then we can use it any way we want forever and ever.
Oh no!
That's bull.
Oh, we need somebody for this hemorrhoid cream commercial. Let's use the dead guy.
Without the consent of their estate or SAG-AFTRA, we will have the right to continue to use those scans. So basically,
what's the class 4? An extra or?
Yeah, I don't. Let me see here. This is one of the big.
They make up people then.
This is
why use somebody real?
According to SAG negotiators. Maybe Fran Drescher. I'll do it in a Fran Drescher voice. This is one of the biggest. No, I won't. This is one of the biggest. I love it. She's a
immediate bail.
The nanny.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. This is one of the biggest reasons SAG did not accept the last, best, and final offer from the AMPTP. We could not allow that language to stand. This is massive.
Also because last and final is redundant, and we're just offended by that. But keep going.
Yeah. Every single A, B, C, D, and E lister, all the higher paid performers who think this is a minimum wage strike, they must know they are in this fight. Yeah, because it would affect them. Mm-hmm. They have to realize this is about protecting them. This is their strike now when they realize what's on the line. AI is, it turns out AI is, at the time I thought, AI is a side problem to the issue of getting paid properly for streaming because there's no residuals for streaming. Mm-hmm. But as it turns out, they've come together on the streaming part. It's the AI part they're really having a trouble with.
Name, image, and likeness, basically.
Yeah. Forever without asking permission?
That's bull. If they want to create somebody with AI, they can create someone. I'm assuming in the future, all of our technology is going to get better as far as creating 3D models and texture models.
Put yourself in the position of the producer. That's exactly what they're saying. While these guys are alive, we just want to get a scan of them.
Yeah, I don't want them scanning any of the actors. But what I'm saying is,
but if they have
someone knows how to sketch out a person,
they never. Forever after they have Tom Cruise.
What's the class 4? I still want to know that.
That's bull.
Class Schedule F performers. That's people who earn more than minimum. So,
wow,
the big guys.
So it's not lowers; it's the big guys.
It's the big guys. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
The company's suggested clause will require studios and streamers to pay to scan the likeness, but not for the reuse of the AI scans. SAG-AFTRA is seeking to attach a compensation for the reuse. And producers would need to secure consent from the performer.
Yes.
The language currently in the offer would see the studios and streamers secure the rights to use scans of deceased performers without the consent of their estate or SAG-AFTRA.
That's just ridiculous.
Wow.
It's such a sneaky little grab. Oh, we'll pay you to scan you. But after that,
but you can be in, every commercial or movie we want to put you in, and will not give you a cent.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Crazy.
I imagine if you're A-list, you can say you make your own deal. You could say, well, absolutely, are you kidding? Absolutely. Tom Cruise will have control of his image and likeness. That's the problem with the F
Church
list.
of Scientology will have control of his
somebody David Savage will.
Actually, he's been dead for years, and they just make him up every year.
Makes sense.
Here's another AI story we're doing this week in AI, I guess. Now consider the source on this. This comes from CNN, who says Microsoft is making a mess of the news.
There is some bad stuff in here.
There's some really bad stuff. So Microsoft used to have editors. They had 800 editors in 2018 working on Microsoft News, which, by the way, if you use Windows, you know this, in the lower right-hand corner of Windows 11 is a little widget. Yeah. Click it, and you're going to get news. So it's really all
I knew some of those editors. They were good editors.
Well, they're not there anymore. They're using AI now. And this is CNN's lead. False, by the way, I want to underscore this. False claims that President Joe Biden fell asleep during a moment of silence for victims of the Maui wildfire. A conspiracy theory that the latest surge in COVID-19 cases is being orchestrated by the Democratic Party ahead of the election, and an obituary for a late NBA player that described him as useless.
Yeah. And he wasn't even late. The guy was still alive.
Oh, yeah, and he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
These are being published by Microsoft on their company's homepage, MSN.com.
They're not, Microsoft isn't creating it, right? They're linking to awful stuff. Is that what it is?
Yes.
I forget. Yes.
Because they're using our automation to curate the homepage, and the automation, I guess, just can't tell the difference between a true story and a made-up story. And I mean, some of this you can really lay the blame at the foot of the internet. It's full of stuff like this, right? And more all the time.
Yeah, but again, if we're going to use AI tools, we should have some human interaction to go in and do a little fact-checking here and there.
The biggest, most public thing was The Guardian was furious because they had an article about a young woman who was found dead with head injuries at a school in Sydney, Australia, of unknown cause. Right? Probably a murder. I think, she didn't fall off the slide. When MSN republished The Guardian story, it accompanied it with an AI-generated poll asking readers, what do you think is the reason behind the woman's death? Murder, accident, or suicide?
Unbelievable.
Oh, God.
And people blamed The Guardian because it was right next to they thought The Guardian had generated that poll. Anna Bateson, chief executive of the Guardian Media Group, said in a sharply worded letter to Microsoft, sharply that the auto poll was deeply concerning application of the company's AI technology and demanded Microsoft take full responsibility. Not only is this sort of application potentially distressing for the family of the individual as the subject of the story, it's also deeply damaging, she wrote, to the Guardian's hard-won reputation for trusted, sensitive journalism and to the reputation of the individual journalists who wrote the story.
Hey, but Microsoft PR, they responded.
A Microsoft spokesperson said the company was disabling all polls on news articles and investigating the cause of the inappropriate.
And we're pulling back all of our self-driving cars and editors.
We regret the error. Yeah.
Can statement number 185B, sir. That's all that was.
I did think it was really funny when they republished a story about Brandon Hunter, the former NBA player who had died unexpectedly at the age of 42. But they published it under the headline, Brandon Hunter useless at 42.
No, there was another one where the guy was still alive.
That's exactly what an AI would think.
There was another one where the guy was still alive. He actually was traded.
We can't use him anymore. Oh, that's totally what an AI would say. Yeah, I remember that one. He wasn't dead. He was traded.
He was traded.
Was close.
Good grief.
Not dead.
Dead to me. Yeah, so I mean, it is CNN gloating a little bit on see what happens when you don't use humans. Yeah. But that is pretty bad. That's pretty.
And Microsoft is making, I argue often, irresponsible use. They shouldn't have put ChatGPT in search. You expect decent results. It's not hallucinations. It doesn't know facts. It's wrong to put it there.
You saying they shouldn't put ChatGPT in search? That's what you just said?
Yes.
Is it okay? Is it okay that Google puts Bored there?
I think it's also bad, but Google does it a little bit differently, where it's not the search engine; it's to the side, and this is extra stuff, and you can judge it.
Fair.
I'm not saying that's a hell of a lot better, but it is at least different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Stop playing the game, Leo. We see you on the camera. What you're doing.
I'm getting ready for the next ad.
Playing the game. You're
working.
Trying to.
I'm getting ready for the next ad.
You should be tweeting. It's the middle of the show. This is the time where you've got to be sending a tweet.
It's supposed to be tweeting. No, I'm setting up Mylio on my new computer, and we'll talk about Mylio in just a little bit. But first, a word from our other sponsor, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Ooh, This Week in Google, brought to you by the data quality experts, Melissa. For over 38 years, Melissa has helped companies harness the value of their customer data to drive insight, maintain data quality, and support global intelligence. All data expires. This is important to know. About 25% a year. Having clean and verified data helps customers have a smooth, error-free purchase experience. Bad data? That's bad business. In fact, costs an average of $9 million every year. Melissa's flexible. It'll fit into any business model, verifying addresses from more than 240 countries to ensure only valid and billing and shipping addresses enter into your system. So easy, either for your customer or a customer service rep to fumble finger an address. And then, you're forevermore. You got the bad address in there, but no, not with Melissa. And they could do it all over the world. Melissa's international address verification cleans and corrects street addresses worldwide, and it will automatically transliterate from one system to another, for instance, Chinese to Cyrillic. It's very sophisticated. Focus your spending where it matters the most. Melissa offers free trials, sample codes, flexible pricing. There's an ROI guarantee, and unlimited technical support to customers all over the world. Once you're signed up with Melissa, it's easy to integrate other services like Melissa's identity verification, which helps you increase compliance, reduce fraud, and improve onboarding, and Melissa's Enrich, which helps you gain insight into who and where your customers are. Download the free Melissa Lookups app, too. By the way, this is free on Google Play or Apple's App Store. You don't even have to sign up. You can validate an address and personal identity in the U.S. or Canada. Check global phone numbers to find caller, carrier, and geographic information. It even has a global IP address locator and more. That's called Melissa Lookups on iOS and Android. Melissa's achieved the highest level of security status available by gaining FedRAMP authorization. That's good news. Those technologies exclusively for governmental agencies, but everybody automatically gains that superior level of security. Melissa's solutions and services are GDPR and CCPA compliant. They meet SOC 2 and HIPAA high trust standards for information security management. Make sure your contact data is up to date. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free. Ooh, just right for a Christmas card list, I'm thinking. Melissa.com/twit. MELISSA, melissa.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google. Our friend Alex Kantrowitz of the Big Technology Podcast and the Big Technology Substack. I see you put a link in the...
I did indeed.
Saying... I don't know if you know this, but Alex is a regular on
he's really good when he's on the Sunday show.
He's very smart.
Well, I forgot to put the link in, though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm stalling as I try to find it.
Jeez.
He says that OpenAI is a lot more vulnerable than you think. Vulnerable to what? Do you know, Jeff? Did you read it, or
did you find it?
I have the article because
you have it now.
I subscribe. He's in my Omnivore. All the press, money, and awards in the world won't prevent OpenAI from the reality of competition.
Right. This is kind of what I was saying before: is that is OpenAI doing what it's doing with more power, bigger, and cheaper because it's just they want to be ahead of everybody, or because they're scared of who's going to come up behind them?
Yeah. He quotes Michael Mignano, a VC at Lightspeed, who says the trend is you start with OpenAI, then the second step you build your product's model agnostic, and you swap in any model, and the experience stays exactly the same for the user. Then the third and final step, you start training your own models, and everything's proprietary and in-house. And of course, as you pointed out, open source is also going to be a threat, which is good. I mean,
which is great, but there's government forces trying to stop that. The EU is thinking of trying to outlaw open source AI, and Mozilla is saying no, and Jan LeCun is really fighting the fight to say that we need benefit. Now, you could argue that it's cynical on Meta's part, that it's the only way they can keep up, like Amazon and like Android and Google, but I think it's also a matter of principle.
Right.
The story that I forgot I mentioned before, line 63, is Microsoft making advances with small models. I think this is a factor too, is that what holds the barrier to entry is, well, my God, we have the entire world of all text ever done, and it's going to be really hard for you to beat. Well, if you could make small models and make them updatable easily, and they're open source, maybe there's not much room for a barrier to entry here.
Yeah, this is from our good friend Reed Albergati, writing at Semaphore, another regular on our shows. He says the most impactful advances in AI have been smaller open source models, like Meta's Llama 2, which doesn't come close to beating GPT-4 in overall in performance, but its small size and its ability to be customized makes it a good option for a large swath of people. I think that's probably what these GPTs that OpenAI announced are in response to. Like, well, hey, wait a minute, slow down. We can, you can use us in a variety of ways as small models.
Am I understanding this
great
correctly?
area. I mean, there's just nonstop competition, and that's good, right?
Am I understanding this that these smaller models are basically just more curated models? I'm not quite getting it.
As I understand it, well, Leo, you try first. You're smarter than I am.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Well, I mean, because
they're smaller in a couple of ways. You've seen Google talk so much about how it can compress models, right? Everybody would like to put the models on your device.
Okay.
And Google's got models down that are small enough you could put on the Pixel 8 and so forth. So that's one way you kind of compress them. The other is fewer tokens, simpler models that aren't as big and as elaborate. They're also cheaper to generate, which is the big. I still think cost. We've talked a lot about this with Richard Campbell on Windows Weekly, because he's kind of big on enterprise computing and cloud computing. The big issue is going to be the cost of these models. Training these models is very expensive, and then running them is very expensive.
But that's the question: is once you know how to write, once you know how to do some of these basics, and you have an open source version, then training them on a finite corpus, I think would be a lot cheaper, right?
Making them smaller cuts the cost as well. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So that's certainly an area where people are going to push. I think it's very exciting. I mean, as I said, I've been quite an AI skeptic for some time, but I do feel like I'm starting to see some real uses that, even here at Twit, we use them, and they're quite good, not just for graphics, although that's been fun. A lot of it's been toys and fun stuff, but the show notes that we generate are quite good. There's a lot of value that we can, especially when an AI is given a corpus of information so it can't make stuff up.
That's the key.
There's a lot of value in what an AI can do. And I can see in the years to come, we're going to have we're going to have little AI buddies everywhere, don't you think? In our glasses frames? Yeah. What would you...
I mean, I think that's part of what is interesting about this stage in the discourse we're getting to. Is I was on your side, I was very, hesitant and skeptic whenever everyone was saying AI is going to change everything about life and totally take over the world. But I think that, it's very reasonable and likely that AI is going to change a lot of little things.
Yeah.
I like the idea of little buddy AIs if it's something that we can manage ourselves and not through some big company holding our hands.
Yeah, everyone gets a Clippy.
Right. Give me that, but let it be something that I can control and manage and store all of the information on it, not necessarily something that Google has its eye on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What would you use a little Clippy for, Ant?
Remembering, is that Paris Martineau or is...
Would you use AI in, you're a photographer. Would you use AI in photo editing and processing?
Yes.
Yeah,
all the time.
Already, Luminar does some really amazing
stuff. Speeds up the process.
They've had for a couple of years a program called Luminar AI, which does things like if I take a lot of pictures when you're traveling, and it's a cloudy day. It's a cloudy day. You're not going to be able to stick around till it's a beautiful sky.
Yep.
But Luminar AI will put a better sky in your photo.
Oh, there's the sky. Let me fix that for you. Boom.
It's pretty amazing. It does a really good job. And we've seen that Google show this again and again, removing parts of a picture or
as we saw switching faces. The Washington Post a week ago screamed about this. This was the end. We're never going to know what's true again. And I went back and looking.
Well,
one
that
of the most
ship
famous
has
portraits,
a long time ago.
Dude, there's been stuff
Abraham
photoshopped
Lincoln
for years.
Yeah. Well, even back to Abraham Lincoln, one of the most famous portraits of Abraham Lincoln, him standing up with a something there, and a book in his hand. It's Abraham Lincoln's face, but it's infamous, horrible, anti-abolitionist John C. Calhoun body.
During the 1816 campaign, as a Republican candidate, rumors of Lincoln's ugliness proliferated. The New Bern Weekly Progress wrote that Lincoln was, quote, coarse, vulgar, and uneducated. The Houston Telegraph opined he was the leanest, lankiest, most ungainly mass of legs, arms, and hatchet face ever strung on a single frame. He has the most unwarrantably abused the privilege which all politicians have of being ugly. So admittedly, he wasn't the best looking fella ever. So this is an actual photo of Lincoln. But one way that they made him look better was to take this 1852 engraving of the famous slave proponent, John C. Calhoun, racist.
A horrible man.
Yeah.
Okay, but anybody could look good in an engraving.
Well,
they're not engraving someone to look
bad. They didn't even
bad.
bother doing a new engraving. They just put Lincoln's head on him.
Wow.
Why do a whole engraving when you can just chop off a guy's head and put Lincoln on it? So that you're right. This has by the way, no one knew about this or noticed for a century. It was only recently this was revealed to be fake. Photojournalist Stephen Laurent was compiling photos of Lincoln for his book Lincoln, a picture story of his life, published in 1957. When he noticed in the print the mole on Lincoln's face was on the wrong side. Apparently,
this is how they do most. Sorry, continue.
No, go ahead.
I was saying this is how they do most movie trailer posters or like DVD box art back in the day. Is the actors often don't have time to stand for an extra shoot to kind of do the poses, so they have some other like B or C or D or F list actor come in, do the body part of it, and then they Photoshop the actual actor's face on their body.
I'll never know what to believe again.
Were you at TV Guide when they put Oprah's head on Anne Margaret's body?
I just put that in Discord. I just put that in Discord because I remember this. This is like early 90s or late 80s or something like that. And that was my first recollection of like, wait a minute, this is photoshopped or something other back then.
And making Anne Margaret black is just beyond.
Oh, and that same Atlantic article has the Lincoln Calhoun thing. So this is a good article in the Atlantic about photo manipulation from 2012. Megan Garber, Oprah's head, Anne Margaret's body, a brief history of pre-Photoshop fakery. Good article.
Oh,
good article. What else do they have?
It was also Stalin, right? Stalin was famous for deleting people from.
Oh yeah, they would just snip out the people on each side until they were all gone.
Yeah.
What? Here's an image of Ulysses S. Grant mounted on a proud steed before his troops in City Point, Virginia during the Civil War. Doesn't really look quite accurate. Turns out it's a composite of 3 separate images. The head is from a portrait of Grant. The horse and body belong to Alexander McCook. The background from a print of Confederate prisoners. And then they put it all together, and there he is.
And by the way, you know how hard that was to do in a dark room?
Yeah, that's work, but still.
That's work.
It's a lot easier with Photoshop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's Mussolini, who traded horse handler for heroism. Oh, I see. They cut out the person holding the horse.
Of course.
To make it look like Mussolini was stable on his steed. And yes, Benito, here is Stalin missing Gorky or somebody. He would frequently airbrush people out of the photos.
Wow, Stalin, he's just like us.
You mean he can't?
He just couldn't remember the guy. That's
faces
all.
Either.
Yeah,
that's a great article that predates this.
Well, if you go back, when I would go into the morgue at places like the Examiner and get photos from the 20s and 30s, you know, they were retouched like crazy.
Really?
They're painted.
We should explain that in this case, a morgue is not where you find dead bodies, but dead.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it was the library.
Yeah. I think most people know that.
Can I point to a story I like, Leo?
Yeah, because I'm pretty much out of steam. Yeah.
Out of steam.
I'm done.
Line 58. Axios today surveyed more than 200 academic AI experts. And my favorite part of it is they can't stand AI CEOs.
Why is that?
Because they think they are
disingenuous
and dishonest and untrustworthy. And so what that says to me is all these bozos and their test creole. And by the way, we have a major guest. I just found out from Jason on AI Inside tomorrow, Emil Torres, who is the leading expert in test real and long-termism and all the crazy faux philosophies of these guys. So the nuttiness that they come out with rubs off badly on the whole brand of AI, and nobody can stand them.
I just want to thank you for working so hard on the SEO for that AI show, because I think Test Real Expert is just going to sell that show. That people are going to
people are flocking.
Well, okay, I'll do it differently. Now you're going to find out exactly how crazy Elon Musk is.
There you go.
And why he wants to
There
put
you go.
chips
Get Elon Musk in
people's
the
heads,
head.
There you
why
go.
he thinks he should have so many babies, and why he thinks that we should be on Mars, and why all these guys are not just nuts, but they are more dangerous than their machines. How's that?
By the way, here is Joe
Tomorrow
Esposito's Thanksgiving card.
AI Inside.
Yeah, here's Joe Esposito's Thanksgiving card. Apparently, he's put his head on a turkey.
That's really good.
I'm assuming
that
that's
Joe?
you, Joe.
That
I
is
don't know.
Joe. That's him.
Is it Joe? Okay.
That's him.
Oh, that was not in my mind's eye because I have one. That was not Joe Esposito.
That is him. That is him. Oh, gosh.
All right, give me another line, Mr. Test Real.
What about?
Well, I think
That is, by the way, the most unfortunate choice of acronym ever.
But there's so many crazy philosophies to stick in there.
It's a real thing, and I completely agree with you. It's an appalling thing. It's just long-termism is probably better than Test Real, I think.
Yeah, but there are variants on the theme.
Right.
Well, here's the other one. 2 lines down is I didn't realize this. The Test Real nut jobs are also big, not surprisingly, in the psychedelic pharma industry.
Oh, that explains
Okay,
a
I
lot.
could have told you that.
Microdosing.
Shocking.
Unbelievable.
I think macro dosing, Leo.
They've got to be, they're dosing. They're just dosing.
Yeah, there's dosing.
I'm learning
They're the
right now
pilot
for
of
the
the plane.
first time there's something called the Journal of Psychedelic Studies, which I'd kind of like to go to work for that. And by the way,
I'd like to get a PhD
look
in
at
that.
the cover. That is a colorful cover right there.
If the shoe fits.
Yeah. I took a lot of acid, and not recently.
This might be, Leo, do you think this might be why you don't recognize faces?
Not
Could this have
today.
something to do with it, maybe?
Maybe, I don't know, but
Wait, did you get visuals at the time? Did you see things?
Good question.
not when I closed
your
my
mind's
eyes.
eye?
No, I didn't hallucinate. But I would see, you've done it, maybe. No, you're probably too
Yeah.
young, but you'd see you do this with your hand, and you see like 100 hands trailing out. Never saw that, John? You stare at the ceiling, and it looks like it's a circuit board, and it's kind of moving with like almost a line.
But you close your eyes and you wouldn't see
No
like all the
hallucinations.
colorful patterns.
That's normally
crazy.
after doing heavy squats or deadlifts.
It's probably the same exact physiological.
That's ants, psychedelics, squats.
Dude,
Just rigorous
I
exercise
think I did too many
in
squats.
silence. No music playing.
What did you think of line
My
50?
abs are 6 different colors. Oh.
Threads is in a little bit of trouble.
Line 50 or 52? Which
Oh,
one?
okay.
Pick one of those.
I was doing 52. Threads is in a little bit of trouble because they don't own the trademark. In fact, worse than that, a software company called Threads said that Meta came to them, tried to buy the domain, and when they said no, kicked them off Facebook.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because if you notice, Threads is not threads.com, it's threads.net,
Yep.
which I've always thought is so funny. And I guess it's because they can't get the .com.
Threads Software Limited, a UK-based software company, is threatening to sue. They've owned the Threads trademark since 2012. It makes
Good on you.
Yeah, good on you. Go after them. I hate it when companies steal your name.
Make money.
Yeah.
You know, there's another company that they mentioned there at the bottom, American Threads, that was getting confused when Threads was.
So this is a different
announced.
company that was kicked off.
Well, they were not kicked off, but they did go ahead and change their handle on the platform, and I'm wondering if Meta came to them and say, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, can we have that? Here's a couple.
They were at Threads, and
$100,000.
now they're at American Threads,
Right.
which probably is better.
Right.
I don't know why you get so attached to the name Threads. Surely there's other names that would have been just as good as Threads.
Probably the boss said he wants that name, and everybody said, okay, we got to get it for him.
Yeah.
Apple does this all the time. I mean, they didn't own iTunes, they didn't own iPhone, but they
When I was at
work it
Conde,
out.
we wanted to start a new site. So we started Epicurious for Vogue, for Gourmet and Bon Appetit. So it was a new brand. And then for Vogue and Glamour wanted to start a new brand. We wanted to start style.com. We had to buy it from a porn site.
Style?
Yeah. Somehow, in those early days, the smart ones were the porn sites always.
Yeah. Forbes had an interesting story this week about how Elon Musk and X, or Twitter, I guess, are now like trying to sell like single word handles for a high amount of money, for like tens of thousands of dollars. They're essentially taking them from people who've had the account if they've been inactive, or in some cases just haven't logged in a little bit, and they're trying to sell them off to the highest bidder.
Yeah, I mean,
well, he does need that money back.
I'm glad I never had @Leo, because those were the handles that hackers always went aggressively against to hack. They were real valuable as gamer tags. So I can understand. I mean, they're trying to sell everything but the kitchen sink over there. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, they did sell the kitchen sink, I believe. Yeah.
You did see
that's
that,
right. Yeah. Let that sink in.
That sink. You did see that they're now considering creating a store for inactive Twitter handles, $50,000 for. So if you don't use
for your dead aunt's Twitter handle,
if you don't use your Twitter,
just like Hollywood,
they could take it away and sell it to somebody. I think it's probably those three-letter names, though, that are the ones that they can think of getting some money for. Google's gone to the EU and the Digital Markets Act to try to force Apple to open up iMessage. No more green bubbles. As you know, Google's had a campaign for a long time saying, Apple, don't be a dog in the manger. Let us in. Now they're actually going ballistic on this, going legal on it. Google and a group of major European telcos sent a letter to the European Commission saying that because Apple's iMessage is designated as a core platform service under the Digital Markets Act, it should be interoperable with other messaging services. That's one of the requirements. I think they might actually have ground to stand on here. That would be a very interesting thing.
So can you answer why RCS is so important?
I don't think it's that RCS is important. I think it's just that
interoperability.
Google knows that one of the modes. Apple's actually in the Google versus DOJ case and another Apple lawsuit cases. We've learned that Apple actually has done a lot to prevent the success of Android. One of them, I can't remember, was it Eddie Q? Said, we can't put messages on Android because then parents would buy Android phones for their kids. And then just recently we saw...
oh my God, Apple being anti-competitive? Shocked me.
A slide in the trial that said Android devices are... Well, was it spyware or,
Yeah.
And then, it's all coming out that Apple has all along been really more afraid of Android than they've admitted. Remember, Google was very afraid of Apple. Google had designed its first smartphone and then saw the iPhone for the first time and stopped and said, whoa, let's redo this. They went back to the drawing board. So both companies are very sensitive to each other. And actually, in a way, that makes sense because they basically divide the smartphone market. Half of it's Android, half it's Apple in the U.S. I
ask about the importance or just how much it means to have RCS versus SMS, because recently there was, Queen Pruitt sending out an SMS to the group and it was delayed. And she went into her settings and saw that there was an option that says, okay, use, quote, SMS instead. And the messages were just flying through.
Right.
Oh. But she also has a Samsung device, and I later found out that there is something that's been going on with certain Samsung devices using.
I think it's the carrier.
RCS
and it's the carrier's gateway.
So that's why I was like, well, is this any better?
No, it's terrible all around.
What is the point and the importance of it, and why is Google so much behind it and trying to get Apple to be behind it?
I shouldn't.
I'm not trying to defend Apple.
I mean, I guess I have a question of I have a similar thing of whenever I have an iPhone, whenever I'm texting friends with Androids, half the time pictures just won't go through
on
either way.
Not at all.
Yeah, videos are weird.
Videos.
It's
I
just
can tell you why that is.
A mess.
I know why that is.
Yeah.
And that happens because my daughter, of everybody in our family, is an iPhone, except for my daughter, who says
That's really rude.
I will never use an Apple device.
But she marches to the beat of her own drum.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So when I try to send pictures to Abby, invariably she says I can't see it, and it's because Apple uses a format for its pictures, the high efficiency image format, that the Android phone doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And so what you have to do, and almost always I have to do, is both with movies, because they also have an HEVC, the high efficiency video codec.
That's awful.
With movies and pictures, I have to export those and put them in JPEGs or MP3 or what, a format that she can understand, or MP4, and then send it to her as an attachment. She can usually get it then.
But even sending pictures or videos over SMS just seems weird to me.
Well, that doesn't work at all. You have to use MMS, and you have to turn that on. Yeah. It's not on by default on iPhones.
Right. But so what I've done is whenever I want to send something like that to the group chat or what have you, I just create a link through Google Photos or something.
Well, you know what people end up doing? What? They use WhatsApp. That's how they solve it.
It's true.
And that's really what Apple's afraid of.
Yeah.
And it's also Apple's defense. Apple's defense is, well, Your Honor, there's plenty of messaging apps. People can use whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it's true that WhatsApp doesn't interoperate with Telegram, which doesn't interop. I mean, these messaging apps are silos themselves, but almost everybody in the world uses WhatsApp, right? And if you want to communicate with the broadest number of people, you just use WhatsApp.
True.
Which I hate doing because it's meta, but what can you do? That's what everybody uses worldwide.
And there's a story today that Zuckerberg, who said I'm going to keep hands off Meta, WhatsApp, but basically is now finding business benefit in it.
Oh, that's problematic.
I don't know exactly how.
Yeah, because they don't have ads yet, so that's interesting. Huh.
That is very interesting, actually.
Line 71.
So that's one thing you should look at, Paris, on your iPhone, is go into the messages settings and make sure.
Oh, yeah, I've got MMS.
MMS is enabled, yeah. I think then it's just that
I've got two different phone numbers on my phone because I've got the signal number that you guys see here. It's my work number, and I've got my personal number. So I'm fiddling with those settings all the time.
Yeah, and you could send signal to signal. You could send a movie or a picture, and there wouldn't be an issue, I think.
Yeah, no problem. You can send files.
Yeah, signal's fine.
It converts it, yeah. But for some reason...
Mr. Zuckerberg said, if you're envisioning what will be the private social platform of the future, starting from scratch, I think it would basically look like WhatsApp.
It'll be Discord. We already know that. Our Club Twit members, I mean, I don't know if you, I mean, look at what Joe's doing in our Discord.
We can all see it.
Wait, no, you got to scroll down a little bit, Leo. There's some better ones.
There's more. There's Joe as a
You got to keep going.
So to me, and by the way, this is kind of like WhatsApp too, right? This is a messaging platform. You can send pictures. Here's one.
There you go.
Hey, I did a lot of acid. Didn't seem to affect me. Yeah.
It's got laser eyes. It's great.
Yeah.
These things are so great.
It's funny. I didn't really know anything about Discord until we started using it for the club. And I've come to really like it. And they add features all the time to this thing. It's free to use.
Yep.
Which is amazing. I mean, it's free for somebody to set up a Discord server or to join another Discord server. There are boosts you can buy that make it more powerful, but you can totally use this for free. It was a very smart move, for instance, for Midjourney. Instead of having an app and creating, an app with, the Midjourney capabilities, they created a Discord channel. And there's another advantage to that, which is you can see what other people's prompts are. Yeah. It's a community of prompts.
I do like that. You sort of learn what works, what doesn't work, and
it's if you'd go through. So I love Discord. Maybe this is a chance for me to mention that is one of the benefits of joining Club Twit. Ant Pruitt is, of course, our community manager, so he makes sure it's a lot of fun.
I try.
Tomorrow in our Discord, Stacy Higginbotham's book club. Stacy she said, I can keep doing the book club. I can keep doing that. Kaiju Preservation Society is the book, that great John Scalzi book. Tomorrow, you and Jeff Jarvis, you and Jason will talk with Emil Torres about
Tescrial.
And then
Hey. You make fun. It's the most important single topic in all of artificial intelligence. Forget all this other stuff. These boys are ruining the world. So
okay.
Got to talk about what makes
that sounds good. That's tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific.
That's tomorrow.
Next week, Fireside Chat with our old host on MacBreak Weekly, Renee Ritchie, who's now creator liaison at YouTube. Got big shot. So that should be a lot of fun. And then Jeff and I will join Doc Searles and Steve Gibson for our holiday show.
And Rod Pyle.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That will be December 7th, 5 p.m. Club members will get to see that. It'll then be the holiday show, I think Christmas Eve or something like that.
Correct.
So that's one of the benefits. The other benefit you get if you join the club is ad-free versions of all of our shows. You also get special stuff that we don't put out anywhere else, not just those special events, but like Scott Wilkinson's Home Theater Geeks and other stuff. Mm-hmm. More importantly, this is really for, I think, in fact, I want to kind of talk about this with you all. I feel like the days of the free internet, it was a promise that we couldn't keep. Eventually, somebody has to pay. And it's either advertising or it's a paywall. I love the idea that anybody who wants to listen to our shows can. And as far as I can, as far as I'm able to, we'll continue to do that. But advertising is no longer covering the costs. So we either have to cut back or we have to get you, the listeners, to come and join our club. $7 a month, and it really supports what we're doing here. I think it's a fair price for all you get, but I understand not everybody can pay, and I do want to keep it free as long as possible, but honestly, advertising is just falling off the face.
One of our friends watched Jason and me covering the OpenAI and came on right afterwards and said, this is why I joined the club. And as I said back, every member matters.
Yeah. So I invite you to join twit.tv/clubtwit. $7 a month, $84 a year. There's family plans. There's corporate plans. If you can't, I understand it's no harm, no foul. But if you can, it would sure help us out. We really appreciate it.
And if you can't, at least be sure to tell someone about our shows and say, hey, go download
Spread
this
the
show.
word.
This is one of my favorite shows. Tell it to all your friends and all your family and at least one enemy.
Tell the enemy about
good
Tescrial.
enemies network.
Sorry, Paris. What did you say?
Tescrial.
I was just saying, I think we want a really good network of enemies listening to this podcast.
I think Jessica Lesson was very brave 10 years ago when she started the information, and it's paywalled. It's 100% paywalled. It's a lot easier.
And it's been 100% paywalled. I remember, at the time, I think a lot of news outlets, like Business Insider, I think wrote all these snarky blogs.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to ever read a paywall publication?
Yeah.
This media company's never going to survive subscriptions. Have they ever heard of advertising? 10 years later, Insider is trying to do the same.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's hard when you've been giving something away to suddenly charge for it. Mm-hmm. So Jessica was smart. She never gave it away. It was never free. And so there isn't that resistance to paying. We're kind of facing that. We've been giving it away for 15 years, and now we want you to pay. It's kind of hard to put up a paywall. I don't really want to do a paywall. But, that's what I mean when I say I think the days of the free internet are numbered.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
There'll always be a free internet. It'll be filled with crap because that's where the disinformation will be. And
crap,
if we can find the mix, we can have guardians and twits that can find ways to have some support all. That's the secret to the best internet we can have.
Right.
And so when you join a club like Twit, or when you give money to a guardian, or you give to public radio, you are supporting something so that all may have it, and the internet as a whole is going to be better.
It's our fault. I mean, in the early days of the internet, there was this feeling, remember, apps were free. Everything was free. Mm-hmm. And it was like, well, and we'll make it up in volume. There was never a long-term plan for this, but we definitely created the impression that it didn't cost anything to do a website, that it didn't cost anything to do a podcast. And so we could give those away for free. But in fact, it does cost money. It can actually be quite expensive.
Very, yeah.
And the economics of it just failed, and people really don't like advertising. I mean, there's a universal bias against advertising. Ad blockers, I don't know, but I'm going to guess a few people who listen to our show skip the ads, right?
Sure.
Please. How dare you?
How dare they?
I don't blame you for doing that, but I people don't want to hear ads. But something's got to give. You can't, and this is not a big, pledge break for Club Twit at this point. This is really kind of, I'm thinking about
this is really the business.
How does the internet continue? And I know, and people say to me, "Well, I've got subscription fatigue." I understand that too.
Yeah.
I subscribe to a surprisingly large. I mean, not just the information, but Ben Thompson's Stratechery and Bloomberg and PBS. You mentioned PBS.
A bunch of podcasts,
Yeah. That's the
thing.
Patreons.
I do Patreons.
But you find value.
It adds
in
up
those.
after a while.
You find value in those. That's why you have subscribed to them. And when you don't find
and I
value
think
in
it's
them,
important.
you won't.
It's like the sort of thing where it's like, I want these things to stick around, so I pay for them. Like I
Guardian
subscribe
decided-
to a local weatherman on Patreon.
Do you really?
Wow.
New York Metro weather, the best hyperlocal weather in the New York Metro area. Would highly recommend. You don't have to subscribe to him. He's
I don't
just
know.
on
That's
other things.
I don't know if that's topping what you mentioned last week, because yes, I was listening to the show last week. Was it the game? What was that game you were talking about?
The network dropout.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about? Like that's fantastic.
I had no idea about that, and they're huge now.
They are huge. They're expanding. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They've been able to basically build a media
Because it used to be
empire.
College
it's
Humor. Is
small.
that what it was? It
Yeah.
used to be College Humor?
It used to be College Humor, and then essentially IAC fired everybody right before the pandemic. We're going to totally shut the site down. Then they sold it just kind of in name and rights to one of the executives, this guy Sam Reich, and he's been building it back up ever since.
Yeah,
and now they have a small staff, and you're making it work just through a full subscription model.
Is that the future of media? Is like you said hyper local weather, but in a way this is hyper niche programming where
Yes,
people are very
human scale.
devoted. They're small. It's human scale. There's maybe only a few thousand people paying $10 a month, but that's enough to support it, to sustain it. Is that the future?
Yeah, and before the mechanization and industrialization of print, as I say in the Gutenberg parenthesis, which you can buy at a discount for gutenbergparenthesis.com, the average circulation of a daily newspaper in the United States was 4,000. Take 4,000, imagine getting $10 a month, and you have almost $500,000. That's big enough. That's quite big enough to do a lot of things. Is it big enough to be the insider? No. But can you be somebody serving an audience? Yeah. And,
Do we
and
need,
my students come out with them.
Do we need big publications like The Insider or New York Times or the information's a big publication?
I'm thinking no. I'm thinking no.
That we could have
I think that's the
little
problem.
mom and pop, just a lot of mom and pop shops.
was the nature of
Who's your
media
hyper
before.
local weather guy? What's his name? How can I subscribe to him?
NY Metro Weather. I think he's NY Metro WX on Instagram and Twitter. He does, the thing I like about it is every day he'll post a vibe check and tell you between 0 and 10 what the vibes are going to be for that day. So today, Wednesday's weather rating, it was a 5 out of 10. That was pretty accurate. It wasn't great. Yesterday it was really lovely. It was a 7 out of 10 day.
That's a millennial weather report. The vibe, man, is 8. It's wow.
Yeah.
The weather.
And there'll be some days where it's a 10 and he's like, you got to go outside. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Here's why.
November 1st was
I also
4.
really like it. The reason why I subscribe to the Patreon is he'll do these in-depth, when you have a storm or something coming in, he'll do just like a little 5-minute video at the beginning of the day being like, here's what we're seeing, here's what the things mean, here's what all the weather people are talking about. It kind of explains the science behind weather predictions and what you should actually expect in different areas. Really great.
I love weather geeks. I know some.
Yeah.
I know
Brian
a couple.
Stelter loves storms. Brian Stelter, the ex-media critic at CNN, and he just loves this stuff.
Oh, wait a minute. He's pretty cute too, isn't he, Paris?
Okay, so that's the thing. This is not related to this, but one thing I think is very funny is that I've been following this guy for years, and there came a time about a year or two ago where he realized that people could be thirsty for him online. So we would start to post like a photo of him in front of the weather thing, like a selfie, and it was like a weatherman thirst trap. And I was like, this is so funny.
Oh no, that's what you said. This is so funny.
It's very funny.
But yeah, I
That's
mean,
exactly what I said.
So you couldn't do this in Sioux City because there wouldn't be enough people. But in New York, you can. There's enough people. You probably could do it in Tokyo and Mexico City.
That's pretty cool.
Any big metro, if you're cute enough. And
it's true. It certainly helps.
Hey, you know what? It's about time. That's all I can say. He's actually, he doesn't post his picture all over the place, so it's okay.
No, it's very rare.
Yeah, he's pretty good. In fact, he has 4.
He plays hard to get.
Forecasters. He's not. This is a big operation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
There's
is
that the Flatiron building? Did you see that?
No,
no, that's not. It's a fake
a lot
Flatiron.
taller,
Yeah. You see that the Flatiron building is going to be turned into condos?
Going condos.
Yeah.
I've noticed because my office is right around the corner from it, so I'm always over there looking.
It's kind of sad.
I mean, I guess it's kind of sad, but there's not anybody in there right now.
No, it's
I mean,
empty.
I think it should be better that it's housing
Yeah.
than
we need housing in
office.
New York.
Very
This can be
famous-
very expensive housing, but
Very famous building because it was built in a little triangle of land, so it's just a triangular building. We actually have one like this in San Francisco where Francis Ford Coppola's Zoetrope offices are. But I guess office space is not great. Macmillan Publishers was in it, but then the pandemic hit. Nobody's been there since then. And so
on the ground floor at the very end of the triangle, kind of where the points go to, the part that you see the photo of, the ground floor is kind of it's all glass. And for a while, Cheddar News was in there, and they'd be doing live broadcasts, but just with glass all behind it, so you could kind of go behind and cause mischief behind the newscast, which was very fun.
That was my dream. That's what we wanted to do with Twit. We had a storefront. We had big glass windows. I really wanted to do that. I wanted to be like Cheddar News. Man, if I had the money, I would buy that building, and that would be the Twit building. I tell you.
Well, I'll give you something you might be able to afford, Leo, if you go to the Discord.
Yeah.
The smallest piece of property in New York.
Oh, yes.
also a
This is quite famous. The Hess Triangle.
Famous story,
Yeah.
yes.
It's in front of a newsstand. Property of the Hess estate, which has never been dedicated for public purposes.
Wow.
What does that mean? Never been
I
dedicated.
don't know. It just means stay off.
Don't use it
It's
enough.
not
right in
pub-
front of a hot dog place.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a place you can get fries 2 feet away from
Yes, there
this.
is. I think so.
I love New York, and I love the history of New York. I have to say, what a great place. New York's smallest piece of private property.
Hess
Wow,
Triangle.
the Hess Triangle. All right. It's private land as a matter of principle.
Yeah.
People are so strange. So weird.
I got property in New York City. Where? Right there.
Got a triangle. You got a triangle in front of a hot dog stand. What of it?
2 by 2 by 2.
We haven't done Paris's great NFT story yet.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
What was it, 81?
Shall we watch some nerds dance? The Bored Ape Yacht Club, as you may remember, Yoga Labs was a big, I guess still is, a big NFT operation. Cartoon pictures of apes that people would buy as an NFT, and then hopefully somebody would come along and give them even more money for the ownership. They had an event, the Ape Fest in Hong Kong, November 3rd through 5th, with a concert. Apparently, they were using UV lights on the stage. Now, UV is that's sunlight, and it was burning people's eyes. These are the people dancing. You know what's burning my eyes?
The video is just a sea of men doing the weakest dance moves you've ever seen.
There are literally no women in this whole thing. You have to be a Bored Ape Yacht Club owner to attend the
Loser.
Ape Fest. And
I've never attended a party before.
That's not right.
is this the kind of party you go to, Benito?
No, I'm saying these people must have never.
Oh, this is their
attended a
first
party.
time.
Yeah, it's their first party.
They don't get out much.
Nobody invites me anywhere. I finally got invited. I hate to make fun, but it's you schmucks. You're buying this Bored Ape crap. I'm sorry.
Well, it's actually quite serious because they got their eyes burned. Some of them woke up and couldn't see. Some of them had bad sunburns. You know, I don't know if you can blame Yuga Labs for this. They probably hired a promoter to put on the event, and the promoter was so stupid they put up UV lights, sun lamps on the stage.
Idiots.
Anyway, it happened before in Hong Kong.
Used for the disinfection of equipment, so it was very strong ultraviolet light.
Oh my gosh!
It's the UVC, the ones they put in those little boxes, right?
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to look at that when you put your. We have one at home. You put your cell phone and you close it, and then it comes on. You're not supposed to look at it.
has one.
You have a UVC.
You're not supposed to dance under it for hours.
Oh, yeah, John and I fell for this. This was a Kickstarter John and I fell for. $100 COVID mask. This has UVC in it? So it has it weighs about 3 pounds, by the way.
Yeah, perfect for your face.
Yeah, perfect to wear. Did you ever wear it anywhere? No. Is this mine or yours? This is mine.
Yeah, that's good. You might want to ask that before you put it on, Leo.
Oh, can you even talk through it?
So the idea is it has a fan and it blows the air it takes, and it has this tube system inside, and it goes past UV light for a sufficient amount of time to fully disinfect. So this is not an N95. This is an N100.
I remember you getting that and bumping the mic every time you tried talking.
Oh, now I'm stuck. Take it off. Yeah, you charge it up though, right? Yeah, I should maybe.
I like that hairdo, Leo.
It's USB.
That's good. It's a good look.
It's USB-C.
Good look.
What are you mocking?
Imagine being
me?
like, "Oh, sorry, my mask is out of battery."
Oh no! You shouldn't leave it that way. No,
lean into the bangs.
No, go. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. You could do the New York weather.
That's true.
What does that look? You went cross-eyed for a second.
What is this red thing I'm putting in your head, Leo? Can you figure it out?
Close your eyes. What is this?
I took too much acid. I don't know. Oh, look, a party.
It's about bored apes. I think I'll go. It's like fun.
I love apes.
Apes are good.
Is there any more video of this? I now want more video. Paris, you found this. Surely you can find some more.
I don't like to make fun of people dancing.
I don't either.
These guys are dancing. What about the guys behind them are just standing there looking at the other guys dancing?
Yeah, well,
that would be me.
You're not a dancer.
I'm not a dancer, so I'm just going to watch you.
I dance like nobody's looking. That's my philosophy.
So I've heard.
I podcast like no one's listening, and I danced like nobody's looking.
What is wrong with this hair?
See, this is the great thing. We're all willing to make fools of ourselves for the good of the show.
Is that why I'm doing it?
Some of us.
Oh, yeah.
It's the good of the show, huh? What else? Give me some stories. Take the attention off of my hair.
What did I have? Oh, you went through my two.
Two?
Yeah, I had.
Jeff put in like 50.
No, I had two.
This is more than they usually put in. I was very happy to see Ant and Paris joining in.
What are your thoughts on line 72?
Wait, I put something else in here. Hold on, sorry.
72, as well as like Mr. Salt Hank. What is his? What
TikTok is shutting down its $2 billion creative fund, of which Salt Hank got nothing. Never. He has 2.5 million followers on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, I said, they've got a creators fund. You see any of that money? He said, no. I don't know how it works out.
That seemed to be the sentiment of a lot of the creators, according to this story. Yeah, this fund was out there, but the people that, if they got anything, it was next to nothing. Yeah. And it sounds very familiar to what was once said about Instagram and Reels. The people that were putting up Reels constantly, pretty much at the same time that they were doing TikTok videos, they were seeing next to nothing far as revenue share, so they ended up going to YouTube Shorts, because YouTube pays a little more, but either way, it's still not a ton of money. I
have real misgivings about it. It's kind of like Maggie's Farm, right? I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more.
I don't know what that is, sir. Did you just age me out of the conversation? What was this?
Maggie, and
why does she own a farm? Does she have farm hands?
Mr. Genevieve is losing his mind off camera.
Exercise for the audience.
We get into Arlo Guthrie, though. Speaking of farms now.
Yeah, your work. What happened to Alice's restaurant? Nothing?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, no.
Is that in the rundown as well?
What?
No.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. I know.
Restaurant.
And Bob Dylan said, I ain't going to work on Maggie's farm no more.
Am I having a stroke?
I swear, this is the most ADD ever.
Just a couple of hits from my acid playlist, okay? Don't mind me. I feel like it's by now everybody should understand when you're creating content for the man.
Okay.
The man is not going to pay you unless he has to.
Okay.
And the man apparently doesn't have to pay you. Right?
If it's their platform, I guess.
It does. It can backfire. Remember Vine? In fact, Taylor Lawrence has a great chapter on the Vine saga, which I wasn't even really that aware of. I knew it shut down shortly after, Twitter took over Vine, which was those 4-second things. People were becoming huge Vine celebrities.
Remember that? Before TikTok.
Make a huge mansions they were
Yeah.
getting for them.
And they went to Twitter and they said, dudes, we're making you all this money. And Twitter did not acknowledge them. They did not compensate them. And eventually, all these guys left for TikTok and other waters. But this, are you surprised the same thing's happening at TikTok now? Or it's going to happen. It's going to keep happening because somebody figured it out. Oh, the best thing to do is get these suckers to create great content for us and in great quantity. This was the brilliant. This was the difference between, we've talked about this before, Quibi and YouTube. Quibi was Hollywood's idea. It was done on the Hollywood model. You hire the best talent. They make great content, and then you charge people to see that content.
Yeah.
And it failed in months. Versus Silicon Valley's idea was you make it easy for people to upload. You get everybody to upload. We don't care if it's good content or not because the good content will rise.
Yep.
We algorithmically promote it so that people see it. Now you've got something people actually watch. You can monetize with advertising and give as little as possible back to the creator.
Yep. Just back to us.
Here's one more thing you do. You make sure you take a handful of creators and make them rich. Because it's just like Las Vegas.
Just enough of a carrot to say, hey.
You put a billboard up right in front of Las Vegas saying, he just won $1 million.
You can win. You can
on
win.
the slots.
I got a chance.
But most people lose their shirts, right?
Yeah.
That's how you build Las Vegas. It's the same thing. You promote, and YouTube does this relentlessly. You promote Mr. Beast and PewDiePie and all the people who make millions, and you say, look how much they're making.
Yeah.
You give a whole generation of people the notion that they can make a living as influencers.
Well, speaking of that, what are your thoughts on line 74 from Taylor Lorenz with camps teaching kids to be
that's perfect.
YouTubers?
Perfect example.
It is, and it's the same. She's doing just such great work following the book about the business of all this. And it's sweet, right? Kids can make YouTube and they can do stuff. But here's the thing. It's not just about, well, YouTube's going to rob them blind. The kids all say, I'm doing this because I want to be rich. 7-year-olds saying, I'm doing this because I want a lot of money. Yeah. That's our society. That's what we've done to them. Yeah.
And the real truth is TikTok ain't going to give you any money and YouTube isn't going to give you any money. There's not. Unfortunately, we did the same thing to kids in the inner cities when we said you could become an NBA star.
Yeah, you can go pro in ball.
Yeah. And you know what? The NBA got some great players out of that.
They did.
Because if you have 1 million kids all playing basketball as many hours as they can, a few are going to rise up. They're going to make millions.
The 1%. Not even
Less
the
1%.
It's not even.
And then you get to, reap the rewards from having people do hundreds and hundreds of hours of unpaid labor to practice for it. And then, dance for you at training in the hopes that they'll hit it big.
Ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more.
Never heard of it, sir.
Maggie doesn't pay. Dylan, Maggie needs to pay her employees above minimum
I'm
wage.
Sorry, Mr. Jarvis. You said Bob Dylan? Yeah, let me make sure I pull him up on my Spotify again.
Well, wait a minute. Rage Against the Machine also did a copy.
Bob Dylan?
You can listen to the Beastie Boys version of it.
Oh, yeah. Beastie Boys? Yeah. Let me pull them up, too. Really?
Yeah.
I don't listen to
the Beastie Boys said, washing windows on the Bowery at 3:45 because he ain't going to work on Maggie's farm no more.
Sure. Didn't listen to either.
Bob Dylan is older than Joe Biden.
Is he really?
Oh, my.
No one's older than Joe Biden.
I didn't think so, but apparently Bob Dylan is the one. 2 years. He's got 2 years on Biden.
Is that the new metric? Well, is he older than Joe Biden? How old is he? He's older than Joe Biden. You know, Donald Trump's only 4 years younger than Joe Biden. It's not like he's a kid. But he's got this vision, he was smart. He created an image of vigor.
Yeah.
You get everybody to make posters of you as a Superman and stuff.
Yeah.
And people forget that you're just as decrepit as anybody else.
Yep.
I ain't going to work on Maggie's farm.
He can't walk.
He can't walk
long distances.
Well, I wake up in the morning, fold my hands, and pray for rain. I got a head full of ideas that are driving me insane. It's a shame the way she makes me scrub the floor. I ain't going to work on Maggie's farm no more.
It's a lesson for everybody that Maggie's the one who makes money.
Okay.
No, I ain't going to work for Maggie's brother no more.
It's a lesson for everybody.
Yep.
Maggie is a bad boss.
Okay.
Well, he hands
Maggie
you a nickel.
is
he
in
hands you a
violation
dime.
of U.S.
I
labor
was about
law.
to say, where's OSHA and Maggie? Well,
Yeah.
He asks you with a grin if you're having a good time. Then he fines you every time you slam the door. I ain't going to work for Maggie's brother no more.
See? It's like the Tennessee Ernie Ford song. I owe my soul to the company store.
Maggie's paw. I never saw this one, Leo.
Oh, it's the whole family.
This is Maggie's paw now.
It's Baby
puts
Shark.
The cigar out.
It was Baby Shark for the 60s.
He puts his cigar out in your face just for kicks. His bedroom window is made out of bricks. The National Guard stands around his door. I ain't going to work for Maggie's paw no more. Jesus, what a weird
Man. There should have been employment lawyers should have been salivating at the mouth, like frothing at the mouth to go after Maggie's family.
As a child of the 60s, tripping balls, those lyrics spoke to me.
It made so much sense then.
They spoke
You're
to
like,
me.
wow, it
I
really
learned
makes you
the
think.
lesson. Why do you think I created a podcast network? Because I wanted to be Maggie.
You wanted to be mad. You wanted to be the man.
I wanted to be the man.
I respect that.
I'm trying to imagine a version of this song about you and your son, the TikToker.
Yeah,
Really
Henry.
good.
Henry did work here for a while. He worked in sales for a couple of years here.
Oh, Hank.
Hated it. I didn't know this, but later he said, "Oh, you had to go home and cry every day."
Oh, no.
Are you seriously? I didn't know that.
Well, but the lesson
that's
learned
sad.
was I don't want to work on Maggie's farm no more. The lesson learned was I don't want to do sales. Sales is hard.
Sales is hard.
Work.
Sales is hard.
Sales is really
And if you were
hard.
going to inherit this business, you're going to inherit the business.
Well, I think
You gotta understand
that
the
was
business.
the reason he wanted to work here is he really did want to kind of follow in my footsteps and inherit the business and take it over. And I said, that's fine. You can. It's good that you learn the business from the ground up. And here's the hardest part of the business is making money.
Yeah.
And he learned, but he also learned, how to be an influencer, and he's done very well.
He's done well. Yeah.
So
Did he ever do podcasting?
he has a podcast. Yeah. I mean, I think his biggest efforts were as, cooking on TikTok and then Instagram and now YouTube. He does a lot of YouTube shorts. And really, you don't make money on any of that stuff. It's all to promote something else.
Exactly.
So in his case,
leverage
it's the
another
salt
deal.
Yeah, he's going to do a Salt Lovers Club. He's going to sell salt. He's got merchandise. He's got a cookbook coming out next year and all of that stuff. That's how you turn that into money because it's just fame. It's not money.
And getting back
that's
to
the
that
part that all
story.
the influencers miss. That's the part that all of them miss,
Absolutely.
yeah.
The biggest money makers on YouTube aren't making money. I mean, some of them are. I guess Mr. Beast makes his money from YouTube, but most of them are selling makeup, right? Or selling a product of some kind or doing their own internal advertising. Marquez gets a lot of money. Marquez Brownlee ads on his network are hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're very, very expensive.
I'm guessing his CPMs are pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they are because he, and I have my misgivings about YouTube numbers. I think they're highly inflated, but he has millions of views on every.
And he sticks very close to the gadgets,
Yeah.
which
It makes me cry because we briefly podcasting was the next big thing, and now it's like all over.
No,
it didn't last. I'm gonna hang in there.
We're still here.
I'm gonna hang in there until
still swinging. Damn it!
Until they pull the plug on the.
Until I get my next book out, so I can promote it here.
Yes, just for
That's
Jeff.
all I want.
All right, let's take a little break, and then wait. We haven't done the changelog, have we?
No,
let's do a quick changelog. Here we go.
The Google changelog.
So sure.
YouTube is introducing AI as a comments summarizer and conversational tool.
Screw you. No, screw you.
Yeah,
no,
that's
you're wrong.
interesting.
No, you're wrong.
One of the biggest problems on YouTube is comments, isn't it? Right?
That's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
As part of the premium package available to paid subscribers, YouTube users will be able to try out a new conversational tool that uses AI to answer questions about the content and make recommendations, as well as try a new feature that summarizes topics in the comments of a video.
I don't think I want that.
To get this, you have to go to youtube.com/new. You have to be a premium subscriber, which I am. And then you can try these various experimental features. Comments, who cares, right? That's a big problem.
Who wants comments to be summarized?
I turned it on. I don't actually know. I suppose I should go to a video and see. I turned it on a long time ago. I could see, though, some real value. For instance, one of the things I hate about YouTube, and it's the algorithm promotes this, is I search, how do I reset my iPhone? Oh, there's a YouTube video to do it.
Oh,
15 freaking minutes for somebody saying, hit the button, do the thing. Oh, and I think, this is going to be, it's really good. Wait, kid, you won't believe. And then, the little juicy nugget you need is like 3/4 of the way in. Mm-hmm. Good luck finding it. Well, if an AI could summarize that in a little text field at the bottom, count me
TLDR.
in.
Okay, I will say, as a person who famously doesn't watch YouTube videos, if I ever get in that situation and I try every other option before I even go to the YouTube video, I then just look at the transcript, which is on the side, and scroll through it with the video off. So yeah, if they could summarize that.
Let me see. This is Salt Hank's
living my best life.
Recent YouTube video. This is his Western bacon cheeseburger that he's building. That's my boy.
Get him, Hank. Get him.
Let me see if are there summaries. These are all very nice, but I don't. Where's the? By the way, he gets constant proposals of marriage.
Shocking.
In here.
A man that can cook.
Yeah.
A good-looking man that can cook.
Wow. We've never gotten so many good comments on our stuff. Holy cow.
We got to talk about food more.
Yeah, clearly. But I don't see any comment. I don't see a button for summaries or anything. I don't know. Anyway.
Similar to Miss Paris, when I'm looking at videos like that, I look at the progress bar, and there's usually a little spike of what's been replayed the most. 9 times out of 10, if it's something I'm looking for, that's probably the spot that I jump to, and it usually does answer the question.
That's good. But that's new, too. They've added those chapter markers and stuff like that. Okay, I'll tell you a little secret here. He's in his mom's kitchen using his mom's Cuisinart. Ladies.
You're taking away the magic here, Leo.
But look at that color grading.
I don't know what he's making here. Are those onions?
Pink.
Oh, there's a little salt. There's a little some of the, oh, no, wait a minute. What is that? Oh, I don't know. You're going to have to watch it, folks, to know what he's up to. He's a clever fella. Oh, he's making his own barbecue sauce, I think, because there's some Worcestershire.
What's this here sauce?
Worcestershire. Oh, he's doing it on an induction burner, too. Look at that.
He's fancy.
Very fancy.
Hot plate.
Oh, you know what? It's a sponsor's product. Everything in here is a sponsor's product. All right.
There's
well,
cheeseburger or something. What was that?
It's the best.
I gotta see what it was.
It's the best Western bacon cheeseburger ever. What is he doing?
Oh, so that was all the.
He made a. These are the onion rings. That's what he's making. His onion rings.
Those onion rings.
Those are onion rings.
Okay.
Not whole onions. Chopped up onion rings.
Minced onion rings.
Oh, that's weird.
That's weird. Well, everybody go watch that. So that's one of the new features, which I didn't see. The conventional tools responsibly generated by large language models that draw on information from YouTube and the web to help viewers dive in deeper. They are adding a button. This is the silliest button ever that says, I don't care. Just play something next.
No.
Just play. It's
Well,
like
I mean,
a big.
Okay, I take that back.
That was easy button.
It's not for everybody, but somebody would want that. It's like a
right here. Here's who
roulette,
wants
if you
that.
will. You know,
They want that. They said, just give me a button.
I don't want that, but some people do. I mean, Spotify is doing that with its little AI DJ, essentially.
Yeah.
You just hit the
That's
button
right.
and it picks something.
If it did it well, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
I dig it for the most part. Every now and then I have to tell it, no, you got this wrong. But most of the time it does a pretty good job for me on discovery or going back and pulling up stuff that it calls my classics because I'm in a vibe or whatever the hell it says. Some crap I don't understand.
Oh, here's a new feature in Waze I love. Waze has always warned you about it. There's a speed camera, a speed trap ahead, or an accident ahead. Now it'll say ahead is a road that people tend to have accidents on.
Ooh.
It will warn you when you're driving on a road with a history of crashes.
Who gave it that
There's
data?
There's Teslas running over children ahead.
Wow. It won't.
There's a GM Cruise ahead.
History of crashes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild. History of crashes next 1 mile. They're not going to do it on roads you drive every day because presumably
It'll freak you out.
Yeah, right. That'd be too many.
One would assume that would be exactly where you'd want that, though.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
This is based on reports from the Waze community, including historical crash data. That's wild. Google Chrome's going to get a quick way to see how much memory each tab is using. Chrome is a notorious pig, as everybody knows, in memory and CPUs.
That's still the case? I don't use Chrome now.
I think they're always working to get it better. But this is going to let you know how much memory...
let me see... the Discord tab I've got open right now for Club Twit is using 63 megabytes.
Yeah, see, there you go. Isn't that interesting?
Whoa.
Insider 104.
Oh, so you have this feature already.
You have this?
Yeah, I've had this for like a week or two, maybe more. It's been on my Google Chrome.
Nice.
I noticed because this is something very useful for me as someone who when I got my new MacBook last year, I got as much like RAM as possible because I have so many Google Chrome tabs open at all times.
And if you've been waiting for Google's new search generative experience, it is now available in 120 new countries and territories. It's basically AI-generated search results, yes? So it's currently in the U.S., India, and Japan. It's adding countries and territories in Latin and South America, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Asia and Pacific. Go to the Google Labs to sign up for it. It's another one of those experiments. Has anybody used SGE? I don't think I ever got invited.
I keep getting pitched that. Every time I search on Google now, they pitch it to me.
Really?
I keep saying, nah, I'm cool.
I feel like the future of search is somehow AI related. Here it is. No? A new way.
I don't know.
Because... you have to do it on mobile. Oh, no, on the desktop or the Google app on your phone. Okay.
No, I'll pass.
Yeah, I'm using Firefox. In what way? Because what is a search but asking for a bunch of links to something that answers a question, right? And if you could have the AI, instead of going to those links, say a summary of what... In other words, it's basically Google saying, don't go to sites, just we'll answer the question. Which I think if I was the site, I'd be unhappy about.
Yeah, I'd still want to go to the site and read the expert's opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to the site.
Yeah. Okay.
Hopefully,
But if you just want to know how old is the
site
old
to the top,
porch,
though.
you don't need to go to the site.
Well, Google does that already, right?
Yeah.
They just show
exactly.
They put the cards on the side.
He's old, man, but he's not as old as Biden.
You people are.
I'm 2/3 of a Biden. Should we make a Biden be the new age unit?
Age unit.
Oh, God.
So you're a quarter of a Biden, Paris. Ant, you're about a half a Biden.
I'm about a half.
Jeff and I are about 75% of a Biden. Yeah.
What's the
Actually, probably no, Leo.
What's the notation? Is it a BD?
Do the actual math.
Is it a BD or a JB? What is it?
It's a BID, a bid. You're an old biddy. You've heard that before.
An
That's where it
old
comes
biddy.
from. That's where it comes from.
I'm 30% of a Biden.
You're 30% of a Biden. There you go.
30.
Jeff, do you want to do the math and tell us?
No, I couldn't do it.
He said no.
Yeah.
And B, I don't want to know. But go ahead.
Best answer ever.
I don't want to fall into this trap because, yeah, he's old, but he's doing a good job, and people.
No, he's doing a great job.
People don't like him because he's old, but I got bad news for you. The alternative isn't going to be much younger, and is not going to be better. I don't know.
Leo, you can't take away from us the greatest American pastime, which is hating on our presidents. This is something the whole country gets to do. It brings us together.
Freedom, baby,
like
freedom.
With
I
Lincoln,
hated every president.
people were hating on him for his gangly, weird arm.
They shot him. Are you kidding?
They did. They hated on him. They shot him.
You know,
they did do that.
They didn't like his arms. They killed the man.
They did.
But yeah, no, I hate. You know what? I hated every president because that was my youthful exuberance until Obama, and then I loved the man. But
I think my left-wing friends couldn't stand Obama. I thought I voted for Hillary Clinton versus Obama. I thought, change. What's the big deal? Right? Then he came in. I thought he was great. I was delighted with him. But my leftist friends who'd supported him were all disappointed because he didn't get this done and this done and this done and this done.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
This is the thing, is you got to keep your expectations low and your outlook on life cynical.
It's not like you're a dictator where you can go in and say, we're going to fix everything. You
I just don't want to pay damn near $7 for a gallon of petrol. I
don't know. I think you can blame the Arabs for that.
You know, that's all.
You remember in the heydays of the late 2000 0019 where the Obama is your new bicycle.com. Do you remember this website?
No. What is this?
No.
Yeah. You click it and you get something new.
I've never seen this.
Barack Obama sent you flowers. Barack Obama added you as a friend. Barack Obama rescued you from drowning. Barack Obama offered you his seat. Aw. Followed you on Twitter. Dedicated a song to you. Paid your speeding ticket.
Sure.
This was the whole website was this.
Wow.
See, we need more websites like this. Just absolutely no.
Also known as S posting, Ms.
This
Harris.
is how the web was back in the day. This was it.
Listen, I got a pick that is related to this. So.
Oh, good. And then again, the site was free. They didn't make any money, but they published a book.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go.
Yeah.
With a haunting cartoon of Barack Obama. Truly upsetting.
Oh, it's Matt Honan. Oh, that's hysterical.
That's so funny. It's Matt Honan?
Wow. Oh, what a hoot.
He was stoned while making that site.
Yeah.
What is Matt up to now?
He was at Wired. I don't know.
Isn't he? He's. Is he at MIT Tech Review?
Oh, he might be.
Thinking of a different Matt?
They got a lot of people at, let me see it. Here's his editor-in-chief of the Tech Review.
Tech Review.
MIT Tech Review.
They have turned that around. That was a very boring place. And actually, I subscribed to it. I paid for it because they have great stuff in here. Great stuff. All right, let's take a little break for our last convertible of the hour. And then your first new bicycle when we come back. Did that make sense what I just said? I don't think it did.
Not at all.
Okay.
You should just take another tab. Take another tab of acid.
I need more acid. Our show today brought to you by Mylio. This is what I was doing when you caught me looking over at my laptop. I was putting Mylio on my new computer. Mylio is the ultimate digital asset management tool for not just your photography, but your videos. In fact, for all your documents. But they call it Mylio Photos because that's the first thing you're going to do with it. Mylio is the solution to managing. I'm just looking 200. Here's the count. And by the way, I just installed it, and already all the photos are on here. 207,000 photos from Mylio Photos. I love this. Now, they're not on there in the original. They have thumbnails. And if I want, I can make it be the originals. Here's the deal. You can now use Mylio Photos to back up photos from Instagram, from Facebook, from Google Photos, from Apple's Photos, and put it all in one place, dedupe it, make it all available to you, and then it assigns automatically in the background AI smart tags, so it's easy to find. You tell it, like, that's my wife, that's Paris, That's Ant, and it will find all the pictures of those people in there. I have a whole big folder of Ant. I take photos of you a lot, Ant, I guess. Whole big photo of Ant photos. It's so cool. It does this automatically, and it doesn't do it on the cloud. And that's what's great about this. Mylio Photos lets you store and collaborate and share and edit all your photos without having to store them in the cloud. With their new Spaces tool, you can easily determine what's visible and what's not, which means you can share collaborations at work or with the family. They can see the photos you want them to see and not all of your photos. You can create custom categories and write into a quick collection that's quick to share. Other Mylio Photos users can then use it to collaborate on editing, managing, and sharing media. So remember, we used to do this with Google Photos. We did it in the cloud. You go to a wedding, everybody share. Now, with Mylio, you don't have to put it on Google's cloud. Mylio will synchronize them all automatically. And you can keep the Spaces private with a password or a PIN. It's completely secure. If you decide you want to back up into the cloud, Mylio supports that, whether it's OneDrive or Google's Drive. It'll encrypt it before it goes up there so nobody can see it but you. And if you get the Mylio Photos Plus subscription, as I have, you can put Mylio on everything. So it's on all my devices, all my phones, all my computers. Just got a new computer. I put Mylio on there, so they'll have all my photos on this computer too. And because I decided, because I wanted to do this as a way of backing up my photos, I got a lot of storage on here. So I have all of the originals on this laptop. Don't have the same amount of storage on my phone, so I only have thumbnails on my phone. I have a little bit more storage on the other laptop, so I have thumbnails and reduced, compressed versions of it. And then if you want to edit the original, you can download it from any other machine. Again, without using the cloud. All my devices connect in one library with no cloud storage required. I think this is an amazing solution. The auto tagging, the searching, the sharing, and look what they've done. They've actually put all my photos into a calendar so I can see each month of every year and see the photos from that day part. I think Mylio Photos is fantastic. And I haven't even started to touch the aspect that you can do it with documents too. It has built-in OCR, so it'll also keep track of all your documents and auto tag based on the text content in the documents. Here's the deal. I should have told you this up front. It's free. I think you probably now don't believe me, but you can use Mylio today for free. Try all the features. What you're missing is the Mylio Photos Plus, which puts it on all your devices. Just download it. It's free. And see what's getting me so excited. mylio.com/twit. Get Mylio Photos on your computer or your mobile device. Start with one device, mylio.com/twit. mylio.com/twit. Download it for free, though, right now, so you can see what it can do. It's really, I've tried them all. Adobe, Picasa back in the day, Google Photos, Microsoft's photo solution. I've tried them all, and this is the one. This is absolutely the one. Mylio Photos at mylio.com/twit. Thank you, Mylio. I think we can wrap this show up with our picks of the week. Let me start with you, Paris Martineau.
Yeah, let me get it open here. Hold on. So I've got one pick of the week I have here is this really cool site called gifcities.org, which is essentially...
Wait a minute, you mean GeoCities?
No, GIFcities. But it is like GeoCities. The Internet Archive essentially took all of the GeoCities. They have all of them saved. They have 2 terabytes
all
of it.
The animated GIFs from
GIF
all of them?
That has come from every GeoCity. And so you can search. So one thing I like to do is search the word skeleton on here. A bunch of different spooky skeletons come up, but then you click on them and it will take you to the GeoCity page that GIF originated from. So I've had such fun going through all of this. So if you go onto skeleton and that little spooky guy who's like this.
Creep. Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
You click on that GIF, it takes you to a really fun GeoCity page.
Welcome
that is
to the tomb I am question mark, and we are about to go on an adventure into the mirror world. It was
and it's
amazing
like a
what people
point-and-click
did.
adventure thing that actually works. Like you can click on that door and go on a little
It's amazing what
text-based
people
adventure.
did.
This person is now an accountant somewhere.
Yeah. This person now works for the IRS.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is a great find. Wait a minute, let me do mail. Because remember, you couldn't have a website.
Under
without
construction. Under construction.
Oh, there's got to be a million of those. Let me do that, yeah. Obviously, Benito has a little bit of web design experience. Everybody had that. They had the opening, closing mailbox. They had the shovel. Now it's doing, it did email first. Now it's doing under construction. Oh, look at all of these. The guy with the jackhammer. I want to make a site with all of these now.
No, you don't.
Well, someone just made it. We're looking at it right now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We're looking at it.
But like, I want to find some
But I
good
love it
ones.
because you can click on it and it'll take you to all these
site.
cool different GeoCities sites.
Oh, somebody at the Internet Archive had a great time writing this. Wait a minute. How does this visible underwear have anything to do with under construction? Oh, I guess under. I should have put it in quotes.
Yeah.
Here's the classic head banging on the computer. I don't understand the language, so I'm going to back out of that one. That's hysterical. And these are from ancient times, like 2004.
This was when the internet was so cute.
It
was
was
adorable.
so different. Under construction. This page is copy protected. Try right-clicking
Try
your mouse.
right-clicking your mouse.
Unauthorized documents here are copy protected. You must get a license from the webmaster.
Nice try, sir.
Webmaster.
Webmaster.
Were you a webmaster?
I was a webmaster, yes.
Yeah.
This isn't Tagalog. This is Filipino.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Disclaimer. The webmaster is not liable for any plagiaristic contents, if ever, that could be found here. The author strongly stated that these articles are original and a product of his
Well, if
creativity.
you strongly stated it.
I strongly state that. Man, this was a different time. Yeah, kids, you didn't know. And back in the day,
That was
the internet
cute.
was so fun. So this is
Speaking
GIF.
of back in the day.
GIF, GIF cities. Are you a GIFer or a
GIF.
GIFer?
I'm
Which
a
are you?
GIFer.
You're a GIFer.
Yes, I knew
I'm
I
a
liked
GIF
you.
Cities gal, and that's the correct way to say it, as it is
Yes.
my pick, so it shall be said. The other thing I have is also a little bit of old internet stuff. I was at a bookstore up on the Metro North this weekend, and I found a bunch of old issues of Byte magazine. Did any of you guys ever read this?
Read it. I wrote
Does
for
that
it.
bring out our memories?
I was a,
Listen,
I was a part of the rebirth.
That's right. You were. Yeah,
I was a part of
on
the
a new
Byte
page,
rebirth.
right? Yeah.
Wow.
They were as thick as Vogue.
Oh, this was the
They're
best.
incredible. I've got multiple of them.
Do you?
Did
you
I
buy
got
some
two.
when you were up
I
there?
bought two. I bought two. My friend bought two. I've been going through them.
Show us the other cover with the
So
hardware.
nerdy.
What was?
So nerdy. They had the best covers.
Yeah.
So the
man.
one of the first articles I published was back in 1984 when the Mac came out. It
It's
was in
more
the
fun than
1984
crayons.
Mac Byte magazine
Nice.
with the Macintosh on the front cover of it.
God, that's right before it shut down. Then
1984. Did it last that?
or 1984? No, it was.
no.
Shut
It
down. I
went
thought you said
longer than that.
94.
Yeah.
I bought every
95
issue
is
and
when I
didn't
showed
understand a single one of them.
Yeah, that's the thing is they're kind of inscrutable, but they're very pretty.
Yeah, they
And
are.
the great Jerry Pornell wrote the Chaos Manor column in there. We loved Jerry. He was on very frequently. This was so these
Told
are
the best
PDF.
stories.
These are PDF downloads. Look at that. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It was all about making pretty things with your computer. Also, the ads. I love
Oh, the ads are
buying
great.
old magazines to look at the advertisements.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. What's funny is
Harris, you
that's
might
my
like my
era.
book called
I bought
Magazine.
your book during the show last week, and it hasn't
Did?
arrived yet.
Wonderful. Aren't you wonderful?
You know, it's so fun to see the young people today really appreciating what we did as old timers, Jeff.
Yeah. You did have some appreciation for us.
You appreciate this is a very famous Byte cover.
That's pretty cool.
Look at the Timex watch drawing a robot arm.
That's pretty
It's a
cool.
take
Yeah.
on an Escher drawing.
Like it was takeoff in an Escher drawing. That's right. Here's how you
Byte
could be
had,
fully
at the-
computerized.
at the end of its run in the 90s, Byte had a circulation of like 500,000.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, this was Carl Helmers.
Stay there.
It was bought by McGraw-Hill and then sold to, I'm forgetting who, but then they shut it down.
Private equity.
Right.
Private equity, yeah. Yeah, Peterborough, New Hampshire. That was a great magazine. Oh, Paris, you just, that's so cool that you were into that. Yeah.
Isn't it nice the kids today?
The kids, they appreciate us and what we did.
The kids love legacy media.
Oh,
except she thinks this is such ancient history.
I love Byte. I know. No,
Listen, I'm so happy that you guys wrote for Byte. I was spending a lot of time reading about the history of it this week and looking back to read old articles.
Jerry Pornell, who was on our shows until he passed, wrote probably the most important column, I think, in Byte magazine, the Chaos Corner column, and he inspired a lot of what we do here because he was so brilliant as a user, representative of the user. It was great. And then Gina Smith brought it back after Equity Capital bought it, or because you wrote for it? It was a new page, right?
Yeah, it was after that, I believe. Yeah. That was in the...
It was sold to CMP. And
CMP, that's right.
Later launched as a website.
Yeah, and you wrote for that. Mm-hmm. Yep. Aunt Pruitt. Actually, let me do Jeff first, and then we'll do your pick. You got to get the order right. Jeff Jarvis.
I'm actually going to do. I didn't like myself. I'm going to do a news item we didn't get to. I think it's important. Cool. Is that YouTube is cracking down on ad blockers globally? We saw that story in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is that privacy freaks in Europe, which I talk about occasionally here, are now going after YouTube, arguing that ad blocking blockers are surveillance and a violation of privacy.
Oh my God, Europe! Don't ever change. Don't ever change. They call
it spyware.
Oh please, no! I think they're going to lose this one. If they don't, that's terrible, because any website should be able to say you're using software on our website and we don't like it. Incidentally, the other side of that story is people are just modifying their ad blockers to get around it. It's going to it's a never-ending battle, Yeah. Wow.
Whack-a-mole.
Wow. YouTube wants to force us into surveillance advertising and tracking. So you shouldn't let them. Aunt Pruitt, pick of the week.
My pick, I'll be quick here. The first one is for the Tri-County foster kids. I recently shared a post, on Threads and other social media. Hardhead was selected for an all-star game for football. That'll be coming up here in December. But the thing is, they don't sell tickets. They asked all the attendees to the game to just bring a backpack. They don't sell tickets, just bring a backpack, and they donate the backpack to foster kids.
Isn't that great?
And they also sell sponsorship. So if you are interested in just supporting these, the Tri-County organization, there's a link there in that post that'll take you to a form to make a donation to them. But it's all about just raising money to, they need to try to help run the event, but pretty much they're trying to get people to bring backpacks and make donations for the different foster kids here in the Tri-County area.
Fantastic.
And lastly, I have a sweater here. It's one of my favorite sweaters ever. Yes, it says Tennessee. That's my other favorite football team, but that sweater is very special to me because I got it back in like 1994, 93 from my mother who bought this.
Aww.
And it cost $50 back then. And I remember it really, really pissing her off.
That she had to buy it?
Well, she was like, man, this is a lot of money, but she still bought it for me anyway.
Aww.
The importance of this.
Your mom loved you to pieces, I bet. Yeah.
She cared. Well, she is now officially retired, and I wanted to give her her props.
Congratulations,
30 plus
moms.
years.
Hey.
Kicking ass. I remember a lot of days of her working 3 jobs so she could buy her hard-headed son $50 sweatshirts that he really didn't deserve, and taking care of my sister. She started at that company, at a very entry-level position and just worked her way up over the years. She was one of the top sales reps there. And 30-something years later, she's now officially retired.
Is this her slogan? Honey, we gonna make it work.
Clearly, that is one of the things she likes to say.
And here's the team saying goodbye to her.
And that's there at the studio doing retirement celebration for her.
What is Mom's going to do now?
My sister's next to her and one of our friends over there on the far left.
This is your sister?
Yeah, that's my sister.
Oh, she's gorgeous, of course.
Well, I mean, we got good genes, dude. Jeez.
Of course.
Anything else?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. This is beautiful.
This was that's where I was last week. I was able to get out there for a day.
I'm so glad.
So
that's great.
I'm so glad you got to do that.
So I was able to get out there for a day and surprise her and be there.
So these are your
for
pictures.
The celebration.
You took them.
Yeah.
That's why you're not in them.
Right.
Okay.
And just shout out to you, moms, as I know you watch the show every now and then. You like to troll me, and yes, I did put on a collar.
Hi, moms.
And I did put on a blazer today. So you better not be talking about me today. Love you.
Oh, I bet she misses you.
Yeah, she got her moments.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's great. What's she going to do with all that free time?
Well, she is taking a trip here soon. I know that.
Oh, she's going to come visit us? Oh, good.
Well, I shouldn't say that. She's taking a trip to somewhere in the Caribbean here very soon. That was like her first thing.
Oh, good.
But she'll probably come out here in the holidays,
I
too.
hope she will. Yeah. Very nice.
That'd be cool.
Congratulations.
I hope you bring her into the studio.
Yeah, if she comes here, I'll be more than happy to bring her out.
Should I call her Mrs.
Studio.
Pruitt? What should I call her?
You better.
Okay. Ma'am. Boss.
Chief.
She don't play, man. I'm telling you, she don't play.
Nice. Very nice. Pictures are at auntpruitt.com on your blog.
Yeah, they're on my blog, auntpruitt.com on the blog.
Thank you for sharing your family and your joy with us.
Thank you.
Always. AntPruitt.com. And, of course, Ant you'll find him in the club. Busy man in there. He's our community manager putting together great stuff tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon
really
Eastern.
Looking forward to this one tomorrow.
Stacey Higginbotham will be back with her book club. We will be so happy to see her again. Yep. It's John Scalzi's second most recent book, The Kaiju Preservation Society.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. And
you're a very important episode of
here.
AI Inside.
Yes, at 1 p.m.
And
Pacific.
why is that?
Because we're going to tell you how the world ends, and it's not the way you think.
Those bad boys. They're up to no good.
They are.
See, that's somebody who knows how to write a headline. Jeff Jarvis is the director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. And, of course, buzzmachine.com. He's the host of this show.
I will not be here next week because I will be there in San Francisco.
Oh, what you doing?
I can't be. I'm going to a World Economic Forum event on AI.
Oh.
So I won't be at the show.
Well, that'll be interesting.
So you're going to fix all of the problems. You're going to tell them about Leo's dream.
Yes.
Tell them about my dream. I have a dream, and it's not good. It's not good. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Aunt Pruitt.
Thank you.
Thank you to the wonderful Paris Martineau who consented to join the team. We're so thrilled. From the information.com. She's on Signal at 267-797-8655. If you've got a scoop, give it to her. And you are working on?
Can never really say, but it'll be an interesting one. We'll say that.
How dare you ask?
Oh, good. How long do you get to work on each article? Do you have how often do you have to file?
Ostensibly, I'm supposed to publish like once a month or...
That's all?
So...
What a gig.
But it rules. It's honestly the best.
Obviously, you do a lot of reporting.
I mean, I do. It's because I do a lot of reporting. They've got to be like high impact features.
Okay.
Well,
but see, that's, we talked about why the information is such a success behind a paywall from day one. It's because you get great scoops. You have... The information has great reporters who are really good at knowing what's going on. And it's worth the $400 a year because the information is so good. And I think that's a testament to it, is that they give you the time and space to write important stories. Wow, that's great. That's got to be better than
that's kind of the whole
Wired.
model is you hire good reporters and you give them the time to do their best work. It's really great. Yeah, there have been times in my career where I had to write
daily
between 2 to 6 stories a day.
Oh, wow. Gosh.
Yeah, not good.
No, this is kind of an old-fashioned way of thinking about it, to be honest with you, which is really neat. I love it. I have been a subscriber since day one. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Ant. Thank you, JJ. Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate all our Club Twit members who made this show possible, and invite you to join at twit.tv/clubtwit. We do This Week in Google every Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 2200 UTC. The live stream at live.twit.tv. You can chat with us in the IRC at irc.twit.tv, or in our Discord if you're a club member. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at twit.tv/twig. You can also watch it on YouTube. There's video there. And after the fact, the best thing to do is subscribe in your favorite podcatcher. We like Pocket Casts. If you're looking for one, you don't have one yet. That's iOS and Android. Really does a good job. There's a web interface too. And if you just look for This Week in Google, you'll find it right there. Press the subscribe button, and you'll download it automatically the minute the next one's available, so you don't miss an episode. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.
Come join us on This Week in Enterprise Tech. Expert co-host and I talk about the enterprise world, and we're joined by industry professionals and trailblazers like CEOs, CIOs, CTOs, CISOs, every acronym role, plus IT pros and marketeers. And we talk about technology, software plus services, security, you name it, everything under the sun. You know what? I learn something each and every week, and I bet you will too. So definitely join us. And of course, check out the twit.tv website and click on This Week in Enterprise Tech to subscribe today.